TikTok time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching. Except no greeting to Jai, because Jai just ruined my perfect record of always being on time. Made us wait. Sad day, sad day, sad day. Imagine having an unbroken chain of perfect on-time attendance, only for Jai to ruin everything. Anyway, sad day, sad day. Well, we're going to check out a debate about Muhammad in the Bible based on Isaiah 21, which is completely new to me. Never heard that one. Never heard that one.
It was new to me as well.
Hang on, who's watched? Chris, you're exempt from this because you were there. Who's watched this Muhammad in the Bible debate between Itachi and Chris that was just yesterday?
Yeah, I watched it.
Okay. Jai watched it, and Jai realized that there's no way he could answer this powerful da'wah. So we got Anthony on here. Anthony, you seen this? Or are you gonna be reacting off the cuff like me?
I haven't seen this part. I did see some portions of the earlier stuff because you and Jai were doing something on Malik and his big belly. I saw some of that stuff. And then that's what I saw. And there were some other clips that I saw. So, but I didn't get far enough to see this part of it.
Yeah, I've just heard that this is about Isaiah 21, which again, not familiar with this one. We were chatting right before we started, while we were waiting for Jai to show up. But that seems to be the goal in Dawah. You've got Muhammad. He receives Quranic revelations saying that Jews and Christians can find him mentioned in our scriptures. And historically, Muslims go to, Deuteronomy 18. Keep in mind, it says specifically the Torah and the Gospel. So they need at least one clear one from the Torah, at least one clear one from the Gospel. Traditionally, the most common one has been to go to Deuteronomy 18 for the Torah and John 14 for the Gospel. But these arguments, their arguments only work in an atmosphere of ignorance. They only work against people who aren't familiar with the argument and don't know how to respond off the cuff and stuff. And so they'll use these arguments for a while, and then once a sizable portion of Christians become familiar with the argument and know how to respond, they'll kind of move to another one, and they keep getting weirder and weirder, so that, Song of Solomon 5:16, that mentions Muhammad. It's like, what are you talking about? That's Solomon's bride talking about how hot her husband is. Where are you putting Muhammad in there? But that's another thing. At least Deuteronomy is talking about a prophet or a series of prophets. So at least it's talking about a prophet. Song of Solomon is nothing about a prophet to come at all. They just say, this lady praising her husband's hot bod, this is actually about Muhammad. Okay, well, suppose you granted that. What would that have to do with him being a prophet? It would just be, she saw a vision of some dude who was hot or something like that. Pretty insane. But that's, so they do two things. One, they look for more and more kind of obscure or ambiguous passages that aren't terribly clear, and what they're talking about, if it's referring to a prophet, is just not clear. It's not saying anything about that, and things that just don't have anything to do with the prophet. In other words, passages where you could say, okay, suppose I grant that that Solomon's wife was lusting after Muhammad in a vision of Muhammad. What's that got to do with him being a prophet? It doesn't say anything about that. And so we're going to check out this one from Isaiah 21. But yeah, it sounds to me, again, haven't seen it, but this sounds, since this is a new off the wall one, sounds like Itachi flew across the ocean specifically to bring up a new one, knowing that no one at Speaker's Corner would be ready for this new prophecy about Muhammad. And so I've never seen a group more obsessed with short term in their thinking. It's always, hey, let me use this argument. Let me catch someone off guard with some new silly argument. Yay! Look what we did, and then everyone reads the passage later on. Is like, what the heck are you talking about, lady? What the heck are you talking about? But I'm pointing that out because it seems to happen over and over again with prophecies about Muhammad. They don't go with any of their standard, any of the classics anymore. They come up with new ones. Now they're going to Daniel. Historically, when they went to Isaiah, they went to Isaiah 42. Now they're going to random chapters of Isaiah and so on. And it's just amazing because what the Quran said is that we find Muhammad mentioned in our scriptures. That's what it says. Jews and Christians find Muhammad mentioned in our scriptures. If you line up 100 Jews and 100 Christians and ask them about these passages, we look at them, what are you talking about? So the argument has changed over time. It changed from, hey, Jews and Christians, this is proof from your Bible that Muhammad is a true prophet. It's changed from that to, hey, Muslims who aren't familiar with what the Bible says at all and are completely ignorant of what the Bible says, here's us saying some words, and we know what we're talking about. So you guys rest assured that Muhammad is in the Bible, but they'll bring up arguments that are not convincing to anyone who isn't already convinced that Muhammad's in the Bible. And so weird
I often
times.
tell people, when you look at arguments against, let's say, a cardinal Christian doctrine, there's going to be overlap between groups that disagree with us on those doctrines. They're going to use some of the same arguments, but what's always interesting is to see the distinctive contribution of each group to the case against that doctrine. So in other words, if I were to talk to a Unitarian, I could hear from a rank and file Unitarian, Jesus can't be God because God is infinite and Jesus is finite. And I could hear that from any garden variety Unitarian. But what I'm going to get from a Muslim is not just that, because they're going to borrow that from Unitarians. That's the common pool that they're drawing from. But the distinctive contribution of Muslims is going to be Jesus went poo-poo and pee-pee. Mm-hmm. Right? That's their distinctive contribution.
Powerful.
And so when it comes to, I often think in this vein, when they're dealing with passages that allegedly deal or talk about Muhammad, all the standard ones, Muslims have scoured the Bible trying to prove Muhammad. So if you go into a discussion where you aren't familiar with what they're going to bring up, you can be sure if it's not one of the standard ones, they're being even more desperate than they are in the other cases, and it's even worse. Right now, in a conversation, it can be difficult if you're not like off the cuff familiar with what it says. You might have to stop and read it, but that's all it would take, right? You just stop and read it, go through it, and be like, where's Muhammad in this? None of us got Muhammad out of the Bible at all reading it, apart from talking to Muslims, and I'm certain, I bank my life on it, that nobody read Isaiah 21 independently of hearing a Muslim make this claim and thought, oh, of course, the prophet from Arabia, 7th century.
I would say no one in history, I would guess no one in history read Isaiah 21 and said, oh my goodness, this is the prophecy the Quran is talking about.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. So when you word it like that, that's true. But when we think of prophecy, we're normally thinking of like positive prophecies. Like if you say Muhammad is prophesied here, you're thinking that the conclusion is that the Bible is speaking about this figure to come, and this figure is someone you should believe in as a true prophet of God. That's not the only prophecy that the Bible does, though. So you actually do have Jewish traditions that will interpret a couple of passages that maybe people will be surprised about, that they say it's about Muhammad, but it's not in a positive light. So it'd be like, like prophesying like the beast, like in Revelation or something like that, or the false prophet or Antichrist or something. So actually, for this particular passage, you do have Jewish tradition that actually says it's about Muhammad, but it's not the way Muslims are trying to portray it as. We can get into that when Itachi brings it up, but it's not in the way that Muslims want it to be. It's kind of like Isaiah uses this, like Isaiah talked about, Assyria falling and things. It makes all these sort of prophecies of this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen. But because, Assyria falls, or Assyria conquers another nation. The Bible just merely predicts that that's going to happen. That doesn't mean that we should start accepting like the king of Assyria as a prophet of God or something like that. So the whole concept of, prophecy in these discussions, I think, needs to be defined so we can get a full, accurate picture of what the traditions say and what they're not saying, and what the Bible is saying, what it's not saying. So I personally don't think that it's about Muhammad at all in any way. But in Jewish tradition, you do have certain sages and things saying that actually, yeah, this one is about Muhammad and this one is about the Messiah. But again, it's not in a positive light. It's not in a positive light for Muhammad.
One thing too, though, to remember about Jewish sources, sometimes they think it quite legitimate to atomize the text, meaning you could just take a verse from any context and use it to any end through some clever, devices, right? So if you could make a play on a word and thereby link it to some other passage, then you can generate something out of it. But they would object to somebody trying to do this and use it in a certain way. It's one thing after the fact to say, hey, we can link this text to this text and say it tells us something about Muhammad by this, but they wouldn't say that that's actually what Isaiah is prophesying from his vantage point, right? It's not what he's actually talking about. It's more like what we can do later through certain ways of handling the text. So because you can look in Jewish sources and you'll see them, like if you look at Psalm 2, they'll interpret Psalm 2 verse 1 one way and then verse 5 another way, and they're just entirely different context. And a lot of it just has to do with, again, what sort of thing they're trying to do. Are they trying to say this is the historical meaning of the text, or are they just saying this is a clever use we can make of the text, or something like that?
I did want to point out.
That's true. Yeah.
I did want to point out here at the beginning that the whole Itachi situation and the girls of Dawa, the ladies of Dawa situation, is causing no end of drama. Could even do entire shows on this, but check out the reactions to Korra showing up. Itachi. They're all Korra, Itachi, and Maki are all kind of like stuck like the same thing in my head. But Itachi showed up with her eyebrows done and makeup on and showing her hands, and apparently her mask is kind of see-through, and she wears a band around her waist to emphasize her bosoms and so on, and it's ticking off lots of people. So you see the police, the Islam police, the Sharia police, the Dawa police here. So this is in response to her saying, we came, we saw, we conquered. And he says, you came, you gave up your Haya, Sharaf, and sacrificed your aura for views. You didn't conquer anything. This is the BS I'm talking about when it comes to these TikTok personalities. Security guard was looking you up and down, and your main concern was the discussion. And the two melts behind you, Anas and Muslim Apologetic, were watching like little kids. That Muslim Apologetic still hasn't repented for his taking from Safar al-Hawali and his sitting down, blah, blah, blah. So, like, who's he talking about here? That Muslim Apologetic. I guess one of the young Dawa guys behind her?
Yeah, one of the Dawa guys that was sitting behind her.
All right.
By the way, the stuff in Arabic he was saying like you basically like you gave up, you sacrificed your honor, your modesty, and all of it means like your private, like your parts that only
stuff you're not supposed to show.
Yeah, so he's basically saying that like you basically gave your body away and you sacrificed your honor and your shame just to conquer or something like that.
For clicks.
Yeah.
For clicks.
Conquering clipping.
Then we have this one. Who recognizes this Islam? Free mixing to an extent where her hand brushes up against the security, allowing him to look her up and down, associating with Husak like Malik, and traveling with him, saying Muhammad without salawat over and over again. What Islam is this? It's the new Islam, dude. It's the new TikTok.
I noticed that too, Yeah, I noticed that too. Actually, normally Muslims, whenever they say Muhammad's name, you guys know they always say like peace be upon him, or they say the Arabic or whatever. She doesn't do that.
Allah be upon him.
Yeah, prayers of Allah be upon him. Exactly. Yeah, that's what it actually says. But she doesn't do that. She doesn't do that at all. And yeah, so that's
good.
That's
I got
and
these guys are complaining. These guys are complaining. I like these changes. I like changes like this.
The
like
red,
not saying
the red
peace be
rag
upon him.
on, representing Club Pyru.
Pyru,
right?
Club Pyru.
And, I enjoyed the Scarface movie, but I mean, obviously, the whole image he's trying to give off here with the rag, the red bandana, it's just thug and gangster type thing.
Yeah. Everyone at Speaker's Corner is terrified of Club Pyru, especially when he shows up with a bunch of security guards. What a dork.
Bro, is that what he was meant to do? He's meant to be like gangster. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. That's why you were so intimidated, Chris. That's why you're so intimidated by.
I thought it was like just fashion, like oblivious. Like
I mean, no. If that was fashion, like a scarf around the neck, I would normally interpret that as gay, but apparently it's gangsta where Malik comes from.
Yeah. Now the thing is though, if he didn't run around saying Club Pyru, if David happened to have a red bandana, I wouldn't think gang at all, right? David has never been associated with that in my thinking, but this guy goes around saying Club Pyru. Pyru is a blood gang in Compton, and for some reason he thinks it makes sense as a Muslim to constantly run around saying Club Pyru. So when he's got to boot the bandana, which is their traditional flag, if you will, obviously he's trying to send the message. And everybody over there in the UK...
Colors.
Yeah. I don't know if the Bloods have spread to the UK, but it's pretty bold going to the UK.
Yeah, they have their own. They have their own
representing
gangs.
the Bloods, where it's outside of the neighborhoods, to be sure. Kind of funny.
Yeah,
ask me.
He's a weird guy.
Yeah, so
he went. So
he was calling him an open sinner as well. So yeah, these guys are not received well by the larger Dawa community, and they don't have respect either. Just with that thing about like saying like wishing Allah's prayers onto Muhammad, or like saying peace be upon him. This is something that when, like, for example, when for just using DOC as an example, when she first left Islam, that was one of the first, because she didn't tell her family right away, but one of the first things that they noticed was that whenever Muhammad's name was mentioned, or if she said his name, she wouldn't say peace be upon him or say the prayers of Allah. So when you come from like a religious family, that's something that you just say, like, it just comes naturally. So everybody says it. They realized that she wasn't saying it, and then they started realizing, oh, she's not praying, and so they started to put these things together. And then she the Lord put on her heart, and she started having conversations with her family about now she's a Christian and she left Islam. But I'm just saying, it goes to the point that these people are not religious Muslims. They do not grow up in religious Muslim households.
Yeah, so
they're just doing it for who knows what reason they're doing this for, but it's
Yeah, so you're saying it basically ties in with the her doing her eyebrows, haram, makeup, haram, all the stuff she's doing, haram, free mixing, haram, and then she thinks that since Islam requires her to have a male guardian with her at all times, she thinks her mom can do that, and she brings her mom. And then when you say, "Hey, where's your where's your guardian?" she goes, "Oh, it's my mom." And that's basically a confession. We don't actually know anything about Islam. We don't know how this works. And if she doesn't know you're supposed to say peace be upon him after mentioning his name, that's something that would have been ingrained into you from birth in an actual Muslim household. And so looking like the whole now keep in mind, you can have like conversions and stuff like that, but she's supposedly coming from this, her Muslim mother, and it's like, we're not buying it. It's like your whole family is a bunch of perpetrators, man. A bunch of perpetrators, a bunch of fakes like Malik pretending to be a Pyru gang member. You guys are pretending that you're these devout Muslims, and you're totally fake. Totally fake. Sounds real fake. We had one more here. Let's see. Hey, it's from Fuzzy Dawa. Oh, this one's about Malik. So someone messaged Fuzzy here and said, "Fuzzy, Malik ran off as well from Speaker's Corner as soon as he heard Muhammad Hijab was coming. That's why he left early." And they got Fuzzy Dawa.
See, we knew it.
Yeah, when we knew it, we predicted it. We're prophets here. A Speaker's Corner bystander sent me this. Dr. Malik, is this true? Didn't you want to fight me? Why don't you fight hijab then, you 6'1" strong guy? Yeah. So, yeah, for anyone who wasn't following the situation, Malik started running his mouth, challenging Muhammad Hijab to a fight, challenging him to show up, knowing that Hijab hasn't been there in forever, right? Hijab doesn't go to Speaker's Corner anymore. But Malik was counting on Hijab not going there because he doesn't go anymore. And so Malik was thinking, Hijab won't show up. And then I can go back to America running my mouth going, Hijab ran from me. I challenged him to face me, but he wouldn't because he was scared of my awesome physique. But then then the word spread around, Hijab's coming, and Malik ran. Malik bolted with his whole group. What an absolute coward. Fun times. Fun times. All right, Chris, before we start playing this, any thoughts on anything we're about to see?
Yeah, so I haven't actually watched back the footage of this. So from what I remember, she was very keen to get into this. This was the second debate. So after the whole just travesty of the Islamic dilemma where she was blundering,
she got crushed.
Stuff up.
She looked real dumb.
She doesn't real dumb. After that, Malik steps in and he's like, stop it, guys. Let's move on to Muhammad in the Bible.
Yeah, you can see him.
And then, which is weird, interesting. Yeah, Muhammad in the Bible. But she doesn't really ever try and argue about him in the Bible. I actually have to kind of force her to do that. But so a lot of this debate is basically me listening to her try and explain her case. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out what she's getting at. I don't understand how the dots connect. And I'm just thinking, like, poor girl, she doesn't know what she's saying. She's just been told to say something and is just regurgitating it, but she doesn't know how to present it properly in a way that people can understand. But yeah, so let me know what you think. Let me know, maybe you guys do crack on to where she's getting at. But since I've never heard of the Isaiah 21 magical Muhammad prophecy, I was genuinely baffled at how this could be related. But hey ho, let's find out.
Yeah, so again, this would have been the plan. Now, how did that work? Because you debated on the Islamic dilemma. So was it, hey, you get to pick a topic and she gets to pick a topic, something like that?
Yeah. So my conditions were, yeah, she can pick a topic as long as my topic will be the Islamic dilemma and we'll go first. So, yeah. Yeah,
so...
Wait, to be clear, Malik got to pick the topic. It wasn't her. Malik was the one who told her what to do.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah,
you can see Malik,
he's pointing.
Giving the direction.
Yeah, he's pointing that out. So Jai's pointing out what happened in real life. So here's what happened in real life, right? So when they started planning this trip, a couple months ago or whatever, it's hey Itachi. Well, back then it would have been hey Itachi and Korra, but then they all split. But back then it would have been hey Itachi and Korra. Here's the plan. You guys are going to have to come up. We're gonna all work together, come up with some argument that no one's ever used over there, and so no one's going to be prepared for it because they've never heard it before. So we need to get that clip, and then we'll have it. And they couldn't answer our powerful argument from such and such. If they insist on doing another debate, we'll have to do another debate first. You'll get crushed on that because you guys suck. But then we'll catch them off guard with this new powerful argument, and then we'll have our TikTok clips. And so, guys, that was. I guarantee you that was the plan.
Yeah.
But it's a dumb argument.
So
it's a dumb argument.
Oh man, yeah, it's really dumb. I've had people call me up and say, "Yeah, just so you know, that was really, really dumb what she was saying to you," and I was like, "I'm pretty sure it was, yeah." It's just I couldn't explain exactly just how dumb it really was. So I basically pointed out things around what she was saying to demonstrate just how dumb this was. And there's some really fun, really hilarious moments where she claims to be an expert in Hebrew, for example. So there's a lot of interesting stuff there. But yeah. So yeah, let's get into it, I guess.
That's good. And notice Chris didn't run from this argument, unlike Anthony Rogers running from Libiano right before we went live.
Lies.
Hey, here's Yeah, so guys, right before, right beforehand, Libiano posted on X. Anthony Rogers ran from me. So apparently, Libiano went in under a fake name and started having a discussion.
He tried to pull a Cora.
Yeah, tried to pull a Cora, pretending to be someone else, and then and then once it was clear who he was talking to, then guess what? He's boycotted. He's blacklisted. It's funny, Anthony, because Libiano's the one who started the boycotts. We had a 2-on-2 debate set up. It was going to be me and AP versus Orthodox Lips and Deez Responds. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, under orders from Malik, they go, "Nope, you're boycotted." Yeah, okay. Then I'll do other things. What do I care, right? If I were one of them, then I'd have to like start changing my name and using voice changers and stuff like that. I was like, I don't care if you don't want to debate. No one has any obligation to debate me. So if you don't want to debate, then there's no debate. But then when they start boycotting, and then they cross all kinds of lines, and this is Libiano, who threatens to grape women. He goes after people's wives, attacks people's wives and so on, and then Christians say, "Oh, this is how you are, and we're not interested in interacting with you." Then then he goes around whining, "Can I get on your stream? Can I do a show with you? Can I come on?" And no, you're boycotted, dude. You're boycotted. And what does he do? He uses fake names to try and get in there. When he debated Cliff Connectley and his son, he actually used the name Tom, which stands for the Orthodox Muslim. But he just said, "Hey, it's Tom. You're debating Tom," and they're calling him Tom. Why? Because if they'd looked up the Orthodox Muslim, they'd have realized the problems and so on. So this is how sad and pathetic Dawa is nowadays.
This reminds me of Nadir sending him a letter to Michael Brown back in the day. That was hilarious. So Michael Brown gets this letter from an organization saying, "We heard you make a comment about Muhammad. We'd like to know if you'd discuss with one of our scholars and just clarify some things for us." Now the letter is being written from Nadir. There's no organization. Mm-hmm. There's no we. Nadir is writing to Dr. Brown. Anyways, it was hilarious because Dr. Brown sort of sniffed this out midway through the conversation and laid into it. But it was the same tactic, right? So what David's referring to here now, talking about Libiano. So I go on live with Hatun every Monday. We take calls. Most of the time, nobody calls. Somebody did call this time, and partway through, I was thinking, this sounds like Libiano. I don't know if I said it as soon as I thought it, because I thought, well, I don't listen to Libiano much, but I've heard him. And one of my thoughts when this was taking place was kind of like, I don't know what the current state of things is with him, right? Like, I don't know. Things change a lot, right? So you get these guys, they do repulsive things. On the one hand, we expect them to behave like Muslims. So it's not like we just ban or don't talk to Muslims for acting like Muslims. There has to be something especially Muslim about what they do. Mm-hmm. And in this case, he said something about Avery's wife. I know he was involved in the thing that happened with Chris out there in London. And I don't even know exactly all the details of that either, right? So for me, a lot of these, and then
he after that he threatened to kill Chris, or was at least saying that someone else would do it. He said, you'll be consciously edited out of existence. So it's like
I do remember seeing him sit on a couch. This was something I thought was especially reprehensible. I saw him sitting on a couch with hijab, laughing about the whole thing, and at the same time trying to distance himself, like he didn't have anything to do with it, but he was certainly enjoying what happened. So anyways, but I don't know where things are at, right? I'm thinking, I don't know if he's still blacklisted. I don't know. And at the same time, he's already on this call with us, and Hatun is running the show, and so I start talking with him. We go on for like 45 minutes, but Hatun keeps stopping him I did interject. In the nature of most conversations, we interrupt each other, so we're going back and forth, and then Hatun would silence him on occasion, and then she took him off screen at one point. He never shows his face. It's all just like the little icon or whatever. Anyways, that goes on for like 45 minutes, and throughout the conversation about the main thing that happens is Libiano asks me why my view of the Trinity is not polytheistic. I give him the definition of the Trinity that I hold to, and then he says, "You're begging the question." And I said, "How can a definition be question begging? I'm giving you my definition. You're way too anxious here to pretend like you're doing something more than you're really doing." And then we go on, and I have to keep reminding him because he wants to move from there. You know, like we've established this, and now we're going on. I'm like, no, you don't get to assert something that dumb that my definition is. I'm begging the question. I haven't given you an argument. I haven't given you a case. I haven't given you a series of propositions. I haven't done anything that justifies talking about question begging. And so we got caught up on that a little bit, and then we got into some of the other stuff. And it was evident to me that he's more used to hearing how some people articulate this than actually listening to what I was saying and understanding my view. And so he keeps making these arguments that really have nothing to do with my view. And that's the bulk of the conversation. Mm-hmm. So, you know.
And then
but
you
then
found
Hatun
out
gets rid of him.
Hatun
gets rid of him.
So Hatun made you
run. No, it's just we have an hour show, and she got tired of his antics, I guess.
So Hatun was like, Anthony's getting baked. I have to run from this guy. That's good to know. Good to know. All right, let's see. Actually, let's take these first couple super chats. Where is Snow Mexican, a.k.a. Canadian Tony? Snow Mexican. Canadians are called Snow Mexicans because they're like the other country? That's funny. Gavin has good response to Marian apparition and icon veneration. They worth a watch and goes in great detail. And hi, Jai, and hi, Tony Wood.
Why is he like Jai to the second power or something?
Yeah, I was thinking that. Like
Jai and Jai.
He's doing Jai times 2, like me and Chris.
Yeah.
I guess we
Oh,
don't.
okay. Why did I not see that?
Okay.
We've got Muhammad and the men of Al-Zut are in Psalm 22:12. Yeah, we've seen some interesting prophecies about Muhammad in the Bible. Cool shirts, Chris and Anthony, making the psycho and the narcissist look boring. Typical. Typical.
You know what? It just occurred to me. I don't know why it was the last comment or something. But anyways, the early when a lot of the early Muslims would go to the Bible to try and prove Muhammad is found in the Torah and the Gospel. When they quote a text allegedly from the Torah, it sounds like one of Isaiah's prophecies.
Mm-hmm. No, it does. That's Isaiah 42.
Yeah, even early on, this is one of their not Isaiah 21, right? That's the new thing with Itachi. But it's interesting that in their minds, this counts as the Torah.
Yeah. No, that's very interesting, the reason, and I like that. So according to the Quran, we find Muhammad mentioned in the Torah and the Gospel. And what do they quote? They quote Isaiah 42. Now, Isaiah 21. They quote Daniel. They quote Song of Solomon. They quote all these things that are outside the Torah, which means they're granting that even though they believe the Torah was revealed to Moses and these other books definitely are not revealed to Moses, they're granting that all of this is being referred to when the Quran says Torah. And it's like, okay, thank you for that, because now when the Quran says gospel, that can mean the entire New Testament, right? That can mean the entire New Testament.
I make this kind of point in my book that there is scope here, depending on how a Muslim thinks of the Torah and what the Quran means by Torah, that if they take a liberal view, like it's not just Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, it's actually other things that were not given to Moses, then you really do have quite a lot of leeway to say, well, if you're going to have that kind of liberal view there, then why not apply that to the Injil? It seems perfectly reasonable. And what's worse is you can say, well, if you accept that Isaiah was not given to Moses, for example, then you have to accept it was given to other prophets. If it was given to other prophets, then likewise, can't the gospel also be the same in theory? Like, what specifically stops it from applying to that? So you end up in a really kind of icky place if a Muslim takes that position. But,
that's what desperation does to you. Makes you go to some icky places. We've got, what was the weather like, Chris? They look like it's November, while you look like it's beach weather. Yeah, Chris is sitting there in shorts, and they're all like, I mean,
poncho,
yeah,
like,
ponchos and like prepared
wearing,
for the weather.
Oh, and the hat, the
Ski
like
mask.
winter hat or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, like I know I'm very, very white and very, very British, but 20 degrees is very hot for me. Okay, let's just put it that way. It was like 20 degrees.
You gotta,
so I'm like,
you gotta translate that for us
like
Westerners.
We don't know what
like
20 degrees means. Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit, the correct system for weather.
Fahrenheit. Oh,
yeah,
no,
it's like around 70 Fahrenheit. I had, you know what I started to do when I first moved to the UK? I started to like, I was like, okay, do the conversion between Celsius to Fahrenheit. And then eventually I just got used to it, but I didn't do I wasn't like, oh, this isn't Fahrenheit. I just like learned Celsius and learned Fahrenheit, but I didn't do the like converting them anymore. So yeah, if you say 20, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good temperature. But I have to look up, like, is it 70? I got to check the exact temperature, but something like that.
Yeah. The only familiarity we have, like when we take like a chemistry class or something like that, then we use like Celsius and stuff. But when for just weather, yeah, the only familiarity we have with how you guys use weather, it wasn't even you, it was Australians, but that was that song back in the 80s. The Western Desert lives and breathes in 45 degrees. The time has come. And I heard that. I was like, wow, it's pretty cold. But it turns out they're talking about it's really hot, right? Yeah, Australian guy. They were one hit wonder. It's pretty good, though. So what was the weather like? There we go. Itachi's mom is a mahram because she breastfed her. No, she's good as far as her mom. That's just not someone who's allowed to be her guardian in these situations.
Double mahram.
Mm-hmm. Chris, at any moment were you intimidated by Malik's presence? And if Hotel Hijab would have shown up, who wins in any sense, in your opinion? Bob, go on.
Okay, so well, they were actually intimidated by us because they actually stayed away from Speaker's Corner for a while. They were on the outskirts, and someone actually took a picture. I have a picture on my phone of Malik and his crew just outside Speaker's Corner on the main road, just waiting there.
You're hiding! You're hiding, boy!
You're hiding, boy! So, anyway, eventually, so I was like, we actually had a chat, me and a few of us, and we were like, what do we do about that? Should we go to them? And then we were
come on in, guys. Come on in. We're not going to beat you up.
The water's nice and warm. Come on in. It's fine.
So, somebody should check the footage. Maybe he sent a scout in to make sure Hijab wasn't there.
Yeah, he probably did.
No, they probably did, yeah. We did notice one of their scouts. Yeah, so
that's funny.
I don't know if that was the reason, but
that's funny. Malik's out there. He's like, guys, okay, you go in there and walk around and see if Hijab's there, and if the coast is clear, let me know, and I'll come in and we'll do our debate. But if you hear that he's coming, let me know too, because then we're suddenly gonna have to go real quick. Like, can you imagine? I mean, just think about that. You make this big trip, which is supposed to culminate in taking over Speaker's Corner. You go in there, you do 2 debates back to back with one guy, and you bolt the heck out of there.
And I'll bet you he was pulling an Uthman too. He probably took a video saying, "We were here," from the outside.
Yeah.
Just in case Hijab was there. He's pulling an Uthman saying, "We were here. We went into the park, looked for Hijab. He wasn't there."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just so he can say later he did it, even if he didn't do it.
We actually thought that, and my response in my mind to if he doesn't turn up and we think he may have done that, we actually are just going to record us saying that we're here and he is not. Mm-hmm. So we have like our own clip of like, so yeah, we kind of thought they might do that. But yeah, he's not intimidating.
Yeah.
He's not. He's actually socially awkward, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I got the impression he's very social. Like, because when you just hear his voice, I think he gets so lost in his own persona that he's quite confident in and quite comfortable in it. But in real life, he is so awkward. Like I've said it before, but he just looks odd. Okay, his posture's odd. His body movements are weird. He's just a strange guy. Really, he's not intimidating. He's a lot less intimidating than how we portray him. Weirdly. I actually think in real life is a lot less intimidating.
So you don't think he'd fit in perfectly with DJ Quick? who actually was from Pyru.
Nope.
I think it'd be hard for him
this guy
to
is the
fit in a lot
this
of
guy
things.
is the opposite of that.
Yeah.
This guy belongs in D&D club somewhere. This I mean Dungeons and Dragons, right? Those who don't know. Literally, that's
next
where
up on
he
Club
was playing
Pyru, we're gonna have a Dungeons and Dragons tournament, everyone.
Yeah, seriously, that's what I think when I see the guy, and it's not to insult him. It's just that's the kind of personality I get from seeing him.
Y'all catch the new episode of Stranger Things? It's all based on D&D.
And that's why you should be a Muslim.
Fun times. We got. I really appreciate you all. I appreciate you all. Praise to Jesus. I really don't understand why Muslims even try to defend Momo, the all-zooted and false demonic lies. Yep. 3 guys in beards and 1 GWA. What's that mean? British.
He defines it
Oh,
afterwards.
ginger with attitude. There we go. Ginger with attitude. Hey,
I'm not ginger.
Hey, Anthony, is
I'm
there?
blonde.
Yeah, he's blonde, guys. He's blonde. Jai looks more ginger, but gingers with attitude would be a cool. If no one is that a thing? That should be a thing. If it's not, that someone should do that. Gingers with attitude. Sorry, Chris, I just could not resist. Then God bless and thank you all. Muslims really hate their own women, condemn her for every little thing. May Jesus come into their hearts. Oh, hi, David. I heard AP is no longer Turkish. One of us. Yeah, he's Greek. He's 100% Greek. And then we've got 20 degrees Celsius, lol, so they're dressed appropriately, and Chris is just British. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. All right, we ready to check out this debate?
Let's do it.
All right, let's check out the powerful Dawa. They flew across the entire ocean to give this as their new signature argument that we'll probably never see again because it sounds terrible so far. Just so everyone knows, my wife has headed to Bible study. I've got my 8-year-old watching, checking for alarms for his brother. He's gonna run in and tell me if any alarm goes off, but I'll probably every once in a while just go check, make sure everything's going fine. But let's check this out. Here we go. Chris versus Itachi, Muhammad in the Bible. Here we go.
But let's get to Muhammad in the Bible. Okay? All right, beautiful. So, are you aware of the account in Isaiah 21?
Yeah. Are you referring to the silencing of the prophets regarding
No, I'm
prophecy?
talking about Babylon.
Okay, I must listen to something else.
Yeah, so
then.
Isaiah 21, it starts off from verse 1 to 10, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. It talks about the
Can you
Babylonian...
introduce this to the crowd?
Sure. So
Just tell me
in
what
Isaiah,
you're going to be what you're talking about, what this is about, what you're getting at, that sort of thing.
you could take a look at it real quick if you want.
Yeah, that's probably I'll do that. Yeah,
I just want to pull up the title for the chapter as well.
that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so Isaiah 21, it talks about a prophecy against Babylon, and it goes through step by step about a specific prophecy, obviously, where an individual or individuals go and they take over Babylon. Okay, now here it talks about it being successive, and it very clearly according to both Jewish and Christian commentaries, it talks about 2 falls of Babylon that occur. Okay, it occurs at the hands of the horseman, the camel rider, and a donkey rider. All right, so we want to know who these individuals are, when these exiles occur, these falls or the prophecy falls occur during the actual historical period or relevant historical period of Babylon, and we're gonna go over the details more clearly. Okay, so in Isaiah 21 verse 6, it talks about. Okay,
So,
yep,
is this? So you're arguing Muhammad's in the Bible? Is that what you're doing now?
I'm arguing that Islam in general is spoken about in the Bible in terms of
Okay.
being God's people.
So it's not
In this
corrupted?
chapter. In this chapter.
Wait, in terms of
Oh,
what?
beautiful.
Is this
question.
corrupted?
What did she say in term? She said Islam being in the Bible in terms of what?
Yeah, let's play that again.
I thought she said in terms of being God's people.
Whoa. Okay, that's good to note. That's
would be
so
very
that's what
good to
she's trying to
know.
prove. That's
Yeah,
what she's
I
trying to
don't know.
prove here.
Yeah, I don't know.
God's
Let's see.
people.
Yeah, and guys, we know it's
I'm just
a little
writing it.
difficult.
I'm just writing it down so I can touch on that point afterwards because that's important.
Yeah, guys, we know sometimes it depends on the background noise, but sometimes a little harder to hear Cora, and sometimes it's easier. But let's see if we can make out
Itachi.
what she's saying here. Oh, Itachi. Again. Yeah, and by the time Itachi leaves Malik, then it'll just be Mackie,
There'll be a new
maybe
one.
someone new, and then I'll be calling Mackie Itachi and stuff. It's just, yeah. All right, here we go.
Okay. So, in Isaiah 21, verse 6, it talks about... Okay.
So,
Yep.
is this... So you're arguing Muhammad's in the Bible? Is that what you're doing now?
I'm arguing that Islam in general is spoken about in the Bible in terms of being God's people.
So it's not corrupted?
Is that what it sounds like?
Being
In
God's
terms of being
people.
God's people.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms
That's
of being
what I
God's
heard, yeah.
people, that's good to know because I'm not sure where that's coming from in Isaiah 21, but let's see.
I just want to say as well, like this whole thing was introduced as the topic is Muhammad in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
So is he not in the Bible? It kind of, I guess it just sort of blends into a lot of things, but the debate's not really well structured as she doesn't set it up very well, I don't think.
Yeah, so, and yeah, emphasis is going to have to be on, I mean, this wouldn't technically be Muhammad in the Bible, but Muslims being God's people. You're going to have to show that. If you were able to show this is a prophecy about Muslims, okay, you have prophecies about the Greeks, the Romans, the Persians, the Babylonians. You got prophecies about all kinds of groups. So you're going to have to emphasize. She's going to have to show God's people. Muslims are God's people. I'll take that as a win for her if she can show that Muslims are God's people according to the Bible. I'd be interested in that.
In this chapter. Oh, beautiful, beautiful.
Is this corrupted or not? I just want to know, because we just spent the last hour...
Okay, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, so... We heard it before, but then we kind of stopped it again. But yeah, so she's quoting Isaiah, and Chris says, "Wait, so you were just arguing the Bible's been corrupted and that it was the Old Testament was lost, and they had to piece it back together from someone's memory, and it's not the same." And okay, why are you quoting this prophecy? That is amazing, Chris. Right? The Bible's been corrupted. 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 Okay, next debate. Hey, according to the Bible, Muslims are the people of God.
So I think we can make this a bit more straightforward. She's arguing in the last debate that the Bible is not reliable as a source of truth. Mm-hmm. It's not reliable. You shouldn't follow it because you're going to fall into error all over the place. But all of a sudden, it's a different topic, and it's like, right, so we take the Bible as a reliable source of truth regarding prophecy. Now, and it's like, well, hang on a second, wait. I saw what you did there. And, of course, she's going to have to explain herself. She's got some splaining to do.
Yeah, and Dexter here said, did he say 8-year-old? David has an 8-year-old, or did I mishear it? Yes, I have an 8-year-old. My youngest is 8. My oldest is... somewhere in his 20s.
Older than that.
My oldest is...
He stopped counting.
I think my oldest is 23,
right?
Yeah, I'm thinking 23. It's just, I can't take it back after I said it.
I remember
I'm doing the math.
I'm
doing the math. Okay, yeah, he's 23. He's 23. Yeah. Yeah, so oldest is 23, youngest is 8.
Arguing that you were saying it's corrupted, so I'm a bit confused now.
I'm gonna deal with it.
Okay.
So, prophecies.
Wait. So fill me in on this. Where does this come from? That Korah and apparently also Itachi have this word that they repeat all the time. So
that is weird, isn't it?
Korah says perfect.
Yeah, and she says, "Okay, beautiful."
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that? Do they have their own little buzzwords or catchwords?
Isn't that weird?
Has Malik assigned them certain speech that they're supposed to use?
You have to wonder because apparently Malik has some weird fetish for Malik's angels or Malik's shaitans.
Malik's fallen angels.
Yeah, Malik's fallen angels, but he wants them to dress in the niqab, but nevertheless to draw attention to themselves through colorful garments and stuff, and to he wants them to have anime or manga names. So you've got Korra, Itachi, and Maki are all like anime character names. Wants them all to dress like this, and apparently he wants them all to have this little thing they say in response to no matter what anyone says. You can say, Muhammad's a child molesting, murdering rapist, and she go, okay, beautiful, and just move on. Korra would say, okay, perfect. We saw this over and over and over again. Korra would debate. People would just blast away at Muhammad or Islam or something like that, and she'd go, okay, perfect. It's like, why would you say perfect? Why would you say beautiful?
You know what's interesting then, on top of all the other stuff, so she doesn't repeat the normal Muslim mantra, peace be upon him and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. but she repeats the given mantra that Malik assigned to her.
Malik's mantra.
Beautiful, perfect.
Muhammad. Okay, beautiful.
Yeah.
just combine them. Why not?
All right.
Come from God, correct?
True prophecies only come from God. You mean ultimately? No, you can prophesy. No, because you can prophesy anything. And it happens to be true.
True prophecy.
Yeah, of course. I prophesy it will rain in England in the next year.
That's a prediction, sir.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, a prediction. The difference.
But how do you separate that? Oh, wait. What is the difference between a prediction and a
I
prophecy?
got you. Okay, a prediction uses some sort of data and empirical.
No, I'm not using any
evidence
data.
In order to be able to conclude
That's not true.
a certain relevant matter in regards to it. Okay.
No,
Versus a
I'm not using any
prophecy.
data.
Okay, but then you're just guessing. That's not the same thing. A prophecy.
Okay,
is
so
not a
prediction
guess.
is guessing. So basically, the difference here. Let me help you out.
I'm saying you're guessing. So there's just going to be a third option. There's guessing, prediction, and
Right.
prophecy.
The difference is for you that one comes from God and one doesn't.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And
so
prediction specifically.
prophecies
prediction-
then,
wait,
if you don't make that
stop,
distinction,
stop.
can come from
Can I
someone who is
finish?
guessing.
Can I finish?
Yeah.
Okay. Guessing, you could just say
So-
Russia and China
Yeah,
are going
and
to
could it be true?
Russia and China are going to.
What's up?
So yeah, basically, I know what she's trying to do. When she brought this up, she's emphasizing the fact that it's a true prophecy, but she's equivocating on what that means, because she's basically going to say something that actually happened, that was prophesized, is a true prophecy, and I want to actually jump in and put a hammer in that and say, well, no, actually, because if you prophesy in the name of a false god, then there's a sense that that's not a true prophecy, even if it actually happens.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like the standard, you say Deuteronomy chapter 18. If someone comes in the name of another god and says, so I kind of just want to make this clear to her. So it's not as if she can say, hey, this thing was prophesied and it happened, so it was a true prophecy. Mm-hmm. That's not enough.
Yeah, and she's wrong, even according to Islam. We'll let her finish. We'll let her finish this point before actually getting to her argument. But want to hear her out on this. But she's wrong, even according to Islam. You have in the Hadiths these passages where people are bringing up to Muhammad, "Hey, what about the soothsayers or the foretellers? These are people who are predicting the future." And she'll say, "Oh, it's a prediction." No, these are people who are claiming like some sort of revelation or inspiration, telling them the future, and Muhammad said, yeah, don't worry about that at all. And they said, but they're getting things right. And Muhammad says, yeah, they're actually getting it from the jinn. They're getting it from the jinn. So jinns are hearing Allah's plans, and then they tell the foreteller or the soothsayer what's going to happen, which allows them to make accurate prophecies, the prophecies that come true. And so, yeah, she didn't even know what This is like her not knowing what that hadith about Moses was about, and thinking it's about him covering up his hand, and not about the hernia, which is what it actually is about. So I don't think she knows about Islam, and this ties in with her not knowing that she's supposed to say peace be upon him and things like that. She doesn't seem to know a lot. So she memorizes an argument, but she still doesn't know much about Islam. But let's see.
Right. Okay.
However, okay, prediction is not.
You're talking
the same
specifically
thing.
about prophecy from God.
Can I finish so you can understand? You're trying to run from it already. It's really hilarious how he doesn't want to actually deal with the topic. So, prophecy, comes as divine revelation from God.
Yeah, you don't want to deal with the topic because you're pointing out the obvious, that just because someone makes a prophecy, that doesn't make it from God. And if someone makes a prophecy and it comes true, that doesn't mean from God. That doesn't mean it's from God. That's according to the Bible. According to the Bible, a false prophet can get something right. Don't believe him just because he got something right. And according to Muhammad himself, a guy claiming to be a foreteller, delivering some prophecy about what's going to happen in the future, can get it right and can even have supernatural help in getting it right. And that doesn't mean that these guys are true prophets and so on. So anyway, she doesn't know the Bible. She doesn't know the Muslim sources. This is and then she's insulting you over her own ignorance. Crazy.
Well, she needs some kind of like gotcha moment, right?
Yeah.
So she's like trying to fish for one, but I'm trying to sort of like make her think a bit more. Like, don't have this simple view, because it'll fall apart when it's challenged. Like, think a bit more, but not doesn't have.
Yeah, that seems like something where when Malik is preparing her argument for her and like writing it out, she's like memorizing the premises and stuff like that. And one of them is a true prophecy has to come from God, right? Do you agree? and they just expected you to agree with that, and you're like, no, that's not actually it's not actually correct here.
Correct? True prophecy. Is that okay?
If you define it that way, yeah.
Okay, beautiful. That's what Deuteronomy 20 says. Sorry, 18:20 says. 20 to 22. It says that if a prophet comes and speaks or presumes to speak in the name of the Lord, and this thing does not come to pass, this person is spoken presumptuously. Do not believe. Okay.
Right.
So the Bible makes
because
it clear.
in that case, they will be proclaiming it's coming from God, right?
They're claiming that it's coming from God.
Okay.
It's false,
But it's not.
and then it doesn't pass.
Okay, right,
But if
okay.
it's true, then it does come.
Okay,
from God.
right.
Okay.
So you think?
Yeah, here again, she doesn't even know it because it's also in Deuteronomy. If a false prophet gives a prophecy and it does come true, still don't believe the guy. Still don't believe the guy. So yeah, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She memorized what was on her paper, and still notice everything she's saying is wrong. Everything she's saying is wrong according to the Bible and Islam. It's weird.
That Muhammad is. I'm just trying to figure out what you're getting at because you're jumping to places.
Yeah, no,
I'm not saying that. I'm not insulting you. You went to Isaiah 21, and I thought that was going somewhere. Now we're at Deuteronomy 18.
No. Deuteronomy 18 is the criteria for what it means to be a true prophet. Okay. In that criteria, I'm not talking about Deuteronomy 18:18.
No, Deuteronomy 18:20 is telling you how to definitely spot a false prophet. If someone delivers a prophecy and it doesn't come true, someone claims to deliver. If someone says this is a revelation from God and it's not a revelation from God, or if someone speaks in the names of other gods, it's telling you how to identify someone who is a false prophet. That's different from saying, oh, if someone predicts something and it comes true, he's a true prophet. It's two different things. Yeah, once again, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Since she might, I'm guessing she goes on to Isaiah 21 here. Let me just bring up the passage so people know what I'm talking about. Here's an example. So this is Sahih al-Bukhari 5762. Narrated Aisha, some people asked Allah's messenger about the foretellers. These are people who are predicting the future. He said, they are nothing. Really? Well, they're predicting the future. They said, oh, Allah's messenger, sometimes they tell us of a thing which turns out to be true. So these guys are saying, hey, here's what's going to happen, and then it happens. Allah's messenger said, a jinn snatches that true word and pours it into the ear of his friend, the foreteller, as one puts something into a bottle. The foreteller then mixes with that word 100 lies. So this is talking about people actually having some sort of supernatural revelation. The jinn actually sneaks in and listens to Allah's plans and then passes it on until it gets to the foreteller, the soothsayer. And the soothsayer combines his accurate prediction, his accurate prophecy of the future, he combines it with a bunch of lies. And so people think, I need to believe this person because he predicted the future, and then you end up believing a bunch of lies, right? Similar warning in the Bible. Hey, just because someone predicts the future and gets it right does not mean that what that person is saying is true, and you can spot it if they start talking about, believing in these pagan gods and things like that. So she's just wrong here, guys. She has no clue what she's talking about.
The prophet like
okay, so you're not talking about that. All right,
about
okay.
the end point. Okay.
Right.
Stick in Isaiah 21.
Okay.
Now, we understand what prophecy is, yes?
Mm-hmm.
So prophecy, we can understand that it's true and it's going to still be preserved because of the fact of its fulfillment. Nobody else is going to be able to make true prophecy. Okay. We still believe our position doesn't change in terms of that. Part of the scripture.
Oh, I get it. I get it. I was wondering where she's going with all this. So she's pointing out that, yeah, even though I say the Bible's been corrupted, in which case, why would I be quoting the Bible to show that Muhammad's a true prophet? Well, when the Bible accurately predicts the future, then that part has to be from God, which, again, is false according to the Bible, and it's false according to Islam. So, Cora, just based on that, your entire argument would fall apart.
Yeah. It's just, it doesn't even start properly. It's so bad.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Anything can be prophetic in that sense, right? Like I can go to any book, as long as I get to say that whatever doesn't fit isn't part of the prophecy, right? Like and that's what she's doing, right? She's saying whatever's fulfilled is still intact, but it only is fulfilled if you allow me to excise everything that qualifies it in any way. Right, like let's say the text says this is going to happen in Alaska, and it's talking about somebody on a camel. I know this is absurd, but the point is, she's going to say, "Oh, look, see, it's fulfilled in Muhammad because he's on a camel." Well, wait a minute, it says in Alaska. Yeah, that part isn't part of the prophecy. That's corrupted, right? Because we know prophecy from what's fulfilled, right? But again, I mean, I'm a prophet, you're a prophet, we're all prophets by that standard.
Mm-hmm. It's
also interesting, and this has been pointed out before, that this is like opposite world with the early Muslims. Early Muslims, when you did start to get the idea of the Bible being corrupted, creeping into Islamic thought, it's exactly the opposite of what Muslims today say, right? So they actually said, oh, they were removing Muhammad from the Bible. Like if there's prophecies or descriptions of Muhammad, that's the corruption, that they're removing him from the Bible. So he's predicted, he's prophesied. They even go into great detail, such like they talk about the height of Muhammad, the color of Muhammad, what he looked like, all this great detail that Christians and Jews supposedly corrupted out of the Bible. They're saying the opposite. They're saying, no, the only thing preserved are these prophecies that point to Muhammad. It's like, it's a complete opposite from what the early scholars said when they first started to introduce this idea of textual corruption. This is the textual corruption that they were talking about.
And what's crazy is she's the one who brought up Deuteronomy 18:20, which again is how you spot a false prophet. Deuteronomy 18:20 gives two criteria of a false prophet. If a prophet delivers a revelation that doesn't actually come from God, and you can verify this doesn't actually come from God, or if a prophet speaks in the names of other gods, in other words, promotes polytheism, that's a false prophet, and he would have been sentenced to death. He would have been executed by Moses. Right? Why is that relevant? Well, Muhammad did both when he delivered the satanic verses. He did both of those, right? And you don't have to prove that what he said it didn't come from God. He confessed. He confessed. This is History of At-Tabari, Volume 6, page 111. Muhammad says, I have fabricated things against God and have imputed to him things which he did not say. So this is Muhammad saying, yeah, I fabricated this. Okay, you're a false prophet. You would have been executed just for that. But what was he talking about? He's talking about the satanic verses where he said that Muslims can now pray to 3 pagan goddesses and that these are actual goddesses. They're subordinate to Allah, but you can pray directly to them because they carry your prayers up to Allah. And so he took them back, but that was actually in the Quran, guys. That was Quranic revelation that he took back. And so Cora's bringing this up. Guess what? The passage you brought up actually exposes Muhammad as a false prophet who would have been executed. Itachi, he would have been executed. If Moses had been around when Muhammad delivered the satanic verses, Moses would have had Muhammad executed. And here you have Itachi bringing up the passage which would have compelled people to execute Muhammad, using that passage to somehow verify Muhammad. This is insane, guys. This is insane.
Is corrupted. When we see prophecies being fulfilled, we can acknowledge that this is going to be something which is true because of its fulfillment. Okay? It's very simple.
So again, the criteria given is that it has to be in the name of God. So for example, if I could prophesy anything and it turns out to be true.
Is Isaiah in the name of God?
Wait. But if I am doing so in a way that isn't from the same being, the same God, then it's not actually a true prophecy.
Is Isaiah
right? Even though it
prophesying
did actually happen.
Is Isaiah prophesying in the name of your God?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So we're talking about your God right now, yeah?
Yeah.
Your scripture. Beautiful. So if it's the case, Isaiah talks about Islam, the coming of Islam, and its destruction of these temples and all these different things done in the name of God. And Isaiah would be prophesying about it, yes?
What's the scholarly consensus about that?
I'm going to get to it. That's not the topic right now. I want to know if you're going to accept that Isaiah
I'm a little bit ignorant about this, so I want to know what is the scholarly consensus about whether people think this is a prophecy about Muhammad?
No, it's not about Muhammad. There actually is people that do believe it's about Muhammad.
So this isn't about Muhammad?
Jews. No, it is. There's Jews that believe that it's about the
So
Israelites.
do they think it's about Muhammad?
Can I finish? You said you're ignorant, so let me educate you.
Right, okay. I would prefer scholars though.
I got you. I could bring up the Jewish scholars for you right now, the rabbis and everything.
Right.
Now,
No, I mean consensus.
let me finish. Okay.
Yeah.
So many of them say that this is in reference to the Ishmaelites because, and it's due to the fact that they're the ones who have to precede the Messiah coming. Okay. The whole point of this is that they believe that reference to 2 falls of Babylon. Okay. Now I'm going to argue that this is about Muhammad, peace be upon him, and I'm going to show you why the Christian narrative is not going to work, because you also believe that this is about the Messiah according to the book of Revelation. Okay. You believe that
just stop that real quick?
It says that the Messiah is going to return.
Yeah.
Real quick. she did just say, "I'm going to tell you about why this is about Muhammad," right? So it is Muhammad. I'm so confused. Like, am I supposed to be looking for Muhammad here, or is it just about like Mecca and you know the Hijaz or something, or like the Islamic kingdom? Or I don't know what I'm. She never makes it clear to me.
Well, why don't you let her explain what this prophecy is supposed to prove?
She had like 45
I just
minutes.
Finally caught something. So earlier she mentioned something like that there's 2 stages to this. Now there's nothing of that in Isaiah, but she just said something again along these lines where she mentions the book of Revelation, and I think I understand it, what she's probably going to do. So in the context, I mean, this has absolutely nothing to do with Muhammad. I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but it's talking about the Medo-Persians going in and sacking the Babylonians,
crushing the Babylonians. But then Babylonians in Revelations, the Babylon has
So what happens is this language is repurposed in Revelation, where John uses Babylon as a reference to the target that he's talking about in Revelation. He's calling the great city Babylon and saying it's going to be destroyed. He's not saying this is the meaning of Isaiah's prophecy. He's using Old Testament prophetic apocalyptic language, and he's repurposing it in the book of Revelation to talk about some future event. But you don't get the importation of a rider on the camel or anything like that, right? Like there's no, in other words, what you would expect if this is supposed to be about Muhammad, is that this is something that John would carry forward in the book of Revelation, right? Because John is the one who's more proximate to the coming of Muhammad than Isaiah. He's closer to the fulfillment. So if this is the reiteration of this and it's pointing down the corridors of history to Muhammad, you know, where's all the talk about Muhammad and the rider on the camel and all that? Anyways, we'll say more about this, but I think I kind of get what she thinks is the logic of this, that it's talking about Muhammad eventually, like through John at least, something like that.
I'm glad that someone has got that, because I'm
not saying it makes sense.
No, you said
I'm not saying it makes sense.
Anthony said this is persuasive, and he's about to convert to Islam.
He's already got the beard.
So a couple of things here. So she talks about how you talk about prophesying in the name of God, and she's like, oh, is Isaiah prophesying in the name of God? She's asking you if you believe that about Isaiah, but you were asking in general, because the question is really to her. She's the one making the argument, so she's not arguing it from like your framework or your worldview. You're trying to get her in her worldview, where she says that the Bible is corrupt, and she's saying that, okay, here's something that I think actually takes place, and because it takes place, that is proof that it's a true prophecy. But you're saying, well, is it in the name of God? And she's like, well, is Isaiah prophesying in the name of God? But the question is to her, does she believe that? Does she believe that Isaiah is prophesying in the name of God? How can she prove that from an Islamic framework? How can she prove that?
Yeah,
what is she?
Because that
what
would
is she
entail
like?
the scriptures are reliable, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you'd have to.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so,
and that's but that's why she said, well, if a prophecy comes true, that's how I would know that that's part of the uncorrupted part. But again, that's wrong. That's wrong according to both the Bible and Muhammad. It doesn't. Someone can predict accurately, and it doesn't mean it's from God.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
so they both agree.
She has to say. Yeah, she has to say.
I think I'm lagging. Sorry, I think there's audio lag. Sorry about that.
You're good.
Yeah, but she has to say that the book of Isaiah has some true statements in it, but 99 lies, right? Which basically is the hadith, right? Muhammad saying that the soothsayers, the false fortune tellers, have a little bit of the truth mixed with a bunch of lies. That's her view of the book of Isaiah. So is Muhammad saying to listen to the soothsayers because there's a good chance you'll determine which one is the right one out of the 100 things that they say, 99 of which are false?
Something like that. Well, let's find out.
And there's going to be when she brings. Yeah, when she brings up that she can bring up many Jewish traditions or many Jewish sources that say that this is about Muhammad, that's a complete lie. I've found maybe like like two out of a handful who actually talk about this, and the context is like Maimonides, for example, he writes in the epistle to Yemen that he links the one who rides the donkey to Zechariah 9:9, so he says that's the Messiah, and then he links the one riding the camel to Muhammad. That's true. That's after he literally a couple sentences before he calls Muhammad a madman. So this is not in some positive context where he's thinking like, okay, so in other words, it's usually like this is how kind of the Messiah's coming is usually portrayed in Jewish thought. It's that once all this evil happens, then the Messiah comes and rescues them. So the idea is like, okay, so here you go, you have this evil guy coming, the ones who are riding the camel, and then the one who's riding the donkey. This is the Messiah, and like you kind of like change it. You know, they can even change the order if they. This is just the one kind of way of thinking about it. That's how some Jewish traditions, like either the world's entirely righteous or entirely wicked. So that's like one tradition. Most of them take the view that this is the historic view. This is about this is about Cyrus. This is going to come up later on in the discussion. But that historic view and the historic fulfillment is something that most rabbis that I've seen, most rabbinic commentaries say happened. And she's going to make a point about something like whether it's singular or plural, but that's going to backfire on her as well.
Yeah. Well, so notice though that this also fits though with the point we were making before. I was saying nobody just reading this text is going to think, oh, Muhammad or the Muslims. This is all going to be something that arises in the face of Muslims making this claim or somebody being very much aware of this claim. Because Maimonides is not a pre-Muhammadan Jew. He's not just somebody reflecting on the text saying, oh, look, it's talking about two figures here, the Messiah and this evil guy, this madman Muhammad. It's after the fact where he's in a Muslim context, right? He lives in Islamic Spain, and this is a live reality for him. And like many Jews, they would often find texts and use them as the occasion to say something. You're not going to get Muhammad and Jesus out of this path. I mean, just because we are saying they're lame for saying Muhammad's here doesn't mean we're going to be equally lame and pretend that Jesus is here. But the context, if you don't isolate the verse, just because it presents an occasion to say, hey, look, a camel, right? So let's talk about Muhammad now. But if you look at it in context, it's not talking about somebody in 7th century Arabia. This is Isaiah the prophet writing 7 centuries before Jesus and a millennia before Muhammad. And he's talking to Jews for whom Babylon is the great problem. This is what he's directing his prophecy to. And he's telling them that the lands of Iran, I mean, the Medo-Persia, right? This is what their concern is. He even names it right there in the text. We'll get to it, but
like just amazing that like Maimonides, so in other words, she's pulling from this. This is who she's thinking of. I know for a fact this is who she's thinking of because every other example I've seen is like untranslated stuff that's on like Safaria somewhere, but you have to like really look hard for it. But this is more easily available because it's in English. But the sentence right before it says, similarly, Isaiah intimated. Isaiah is talking about the coming of the Messiah, and then after him, the madman, or the Arabic is Majnun, the crazy one, this one possessed, like this crazy guy. He came after the Messiah, and Isaiah is talking about this. Isaiah. That the coming of the Messiah will occur after the rise of the madman, and then he quotes this verse as an evidence. So this is not some positive thing that Jewish interpretation. So this is another thing that these guys do, is that because like Anthony said, like this is something that I think the other reference that I saw was like the Muslim Empire coming and destroying the Roman Empire, and this is like kind of like, but it's not like, oh, we have to go follow the Muslims now, or we have to believe in Muhammad. That's never the conclusion. They're seeing, they're taking this as like, maybe they're not even thinking that this is actually what Isaiah meant. Maybe this is kind of like sort of like a playful use of the text, and they're kind of like applying it like that. But by and large, the text it's read in a historical light, just like how Christians would read it in Jewish tradition. And so when she says many say that, that's a lie. It's not many who say that. And so we can get into more of that later.
Hey, Jai, it might be a good little video to make. Korah proves Muhammad was a madman. Itachi. Itchy proves Muhammad was a madman.
Yeah.
All of Babylon and so on, yes? Correct?
Yeah.
Do you think that Babylon is like a spiritual place, or do you think it's a real place, by the way? Because I've had some funky answers. I just want to make sure.
Like I said, I'm not the best person to speak on about this. So what I want you to know, though, is it's according to consensus from preferably people with no religious battle whatsoever, right?
Yeah.
They have no opinion on this.
Yeah.
They're agnostic.
Yes.
When they read
I'm
Isaiah,
gonna refute it.
when they read Isaiah 21,
Yes.
do they think it's in reference to Muhammad?
So the Jews, generally speaking, they don't. I'm not going to lie to you about it, right?
Okay, right.
They generally speaking don't believe it's a.
But I'm talking about scholarship.
I'm getting to it.
Yeah, so not just like Jews, but like scholars.
No, I mean, when I talk about these things, I don't really care about Western scholarship.
Okay.
I'm talking to you about the traditions.
I'm talking about any scholarship. It doesn't have to be like Western.
I'm talking
You
about
could do
the
Eastern,
tradition.
you could do anything.
Sure,
But
I'm talking about the traditional understanding of those topics.
right. Because my own understanding would be that scholars aren't going to tell me that this is Muhammad. This is a very specifically
I
Muslim view.
I could pull up for you Jewish scholars that will say that. Like
Well,
rabbis and such.
again, the consensus though is not going to be this is about Muhammad.
So that's what I'm telling you, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to bring you their
Right.
understanding of it, and I'm
Yeah.
going to refute it for you, okay?
So
and I'm going to refute the Christian one as
the
well,
issue-
and show you that the only perspective you're left with is the Islamic one.
The issue I'm going to have with this is you're going to read an Islamic interpretation
No.
to this.
No.
And I'm simply
gonna
going to
go through it
say,
verse by
well,
verse.
most people who study this reject that view.
So do you want me to pull
So
up a
I
summary
can
for you?
just rely on the fact that most people who study this for a living don't believe you're correct. They
I'm
actually
gonna
believe
make it
you're
very easy
wrong.
for you. I'm going to make it very easy for
And
you.
so I
want
can
you to
actually
open
just
your phone.
softly
Chris,
relate to
Chris,
them
Chris, you already said
because
you don't
they
know
can
about
speak
it. It's
for
fine.
me and I stand in
Sir,
scholarship.
you already said you don't know about it. It's fine. What I want you to do now, pull out your phone, open up ChatGPT. I want you just generally,
ChatGPT.
yes, generally, I want you to open it up and
Generally,
say,
not particularly.
No,
Okay. Yeah.
stop. Open it up.
Okay, perfect.
Ask it. What is the general understanding?
Oh man, Chris, yeah. Okay, perfect.
So,
is perfect because that's a sore spot for her and Malik.
There's I was doing this in the first debate as well. Periodically, she'd say something like that, and I just responded the same thing straight back to her. Just throw her off, just like randomly. But yeah, I forgot I did it here.
Okay, perfect.
Of this passage of
Right.
the fall of Babylon.
Okay.
Pull it up right now. Open
Why
it,
don't I just
read it.
ChatGPT?
I'm telling you, you don't know the passage.
I literally, I just said to you, here's the
Okay, so I'm
standards.
just gonna
I
start-
want,
you-
sca-
you-
I
you-
want
you-
scholarship.
I'm a debate
I want scholarship, and you're like, oh, I can't give you
I'm just
scholarship.
getting
I don't have
started.
scholarship.
I'm getting started.
And then it's like, but ChatGPT will tell you though.
You said you need to be educated on. I got you. So
From scholars.
In Isaiah, no problem, no problem.
Not
In
ChatGPT.
Isaiah, I got you, brother. I got you. So I'm just gonna go
ChatGPT, what are the scholars that agree with me?
by verse.
Times of Israel or whatever.
I got you.
I want
Times of Israel. Yeah.
Yeah, guys, for everyone who wasn't here yesterday when we were watching the Islamic dilemma debate, she went to Times of Israel to show what Jews believe. What was that about?
She was going to argue that the Jews believe they have lost the Torah.
Oh yeah, and that it was and that
Yeah.
it had to be reassembled, and what you have now is not the accurate Torah, which would completely destroy Islam, but they don't care.
scholarship.
I got you. Let me get you the
You've been
website.
studying this all this time, Chris. You don't know Isaiah 21? Only Islamic dilemma.
Yeah, man, I'll be focused on the Islamic dilemma, man. Hey, man, there are plenty of people better than me on that.
It's okay. He doesn't know.
Plenty of people better than me.
You got to write a book about that.
Yeah, but Itachi, I didn't know about Moses'
I got
hand,
you.
didn't I?
Yeah, you said-
Wait.
Come on,
I don't know
don't
if you heard that. I don't know if you heard that, but
You didn't know
made a
about
comment.
you didn't know about Moses.
Yeah, basically, she said something like, "Oh, how can you not know about this?" And I just leaned in and I said, "Yeah, but to be fair, you didn't know about Moses, did you?" Like,
Yep. Yep. Hang on. I backed it up a little so we can catch that again.
You've been studying this all this time, Chris. You don't know Isaiah 21? Only Islamic dilemma.
Man, I'll be focused on the Islamic dilemma, man. Hey, man, there are plenty of people better than me on that. Plenty of people better than me.
He doesn't know the Bible.
Itachi, I didn't know about Moses' hand, didn't I?
Isaiah 21, bro.
Come on, don't make little puns like that. That's too easy.
So let's just go verse by verse, okay?
Yeah.
So Isaiah 21, it starts the desert of the sea pronouncement, like the gales that race through the Negev. It comes from the desert. Actually, I don't like this transition. Let me get you the simple English one. Isaiah 21. Because we're gonna need that. We're gonna need that one for first. All right. So the chapter starts off. It says Babylon is fallen. It says this is the burden against the desert by the sea, like whirlwind sweeping through the Negev. An invader comes from the desert, from a land of terror. A dire vision is declared to me.
Land of terror. Who else could that refer to but Muhammad? It's a land of terror.
This is just
proof.
Incredible.
This is the proof.
I mean,
this is land of terror.
This is like granting like that. Like, let's just say, okay, even if this were about Muhammad, like read. Is she familiar with Isaiah at all? Like Isaiah often talk like Assyria is the rod of my anger, and by the way, I'm going to send them to an ungodly nation. It's like over and over and over again, And then you have like Nebuchadnezzar spoke of in Jeremiah. You have like Gog. You have the false prophets to come. In Revelation about the beast and the false prophet and things like that. It's like, even if this were about Muhammad, let's say like this text were about Muhammad, this doesn't prove that therefore you should follow him and believe him. And I think that's also what, Chris, you were trying to get at the beginning there. You're like, can you lay out the case? Like, what is the case here? What about this proves Muhammad is a true prophet? How do you prove that?
Exactly that. It doesn't. I don't know what the significance of all of this is. It just seems like we're playing this game of, let's see if we can like make this Islamic somehow. And I'm like, why?
Yeah,
it never comes to a clear answer.
Yeah, that's. I mean, because Jai's asking, does she know about Isaiah? What the message you get from the prophets? The message you get from the prophets is that God will use pagan nations to punish Israel when Israel rebels, but then he will punish those pagan nations with other pagan nations. He will send in a pagan nation to punish. So he'll say, "Hey, they're going to come in here and deliver judgment to Israel, but then I'm going to punish them for all the messed up stuff that they've done, and I'm going to send in another pagan nation." So if you're just saying, "Hey," and I don't know where she's going with this, but if you're just going to say, "Hey, Islam is one of the pagan nations that are punishing another pagan nation in Isaiah," you could grant that. You could grant that.
Right.
Yeah.
I could grant that Islam is one of the pagan nations. Like, you could view that. You could have that view of Islam right now. Why are we having so much problem with Islam? Because so many people turned away from God, and what does God do? He punishes people. He punishes people who turn away with these pagan nations. So,
in fact, that was the early Christian response to Islam. That was that was the early Christian response to Islam. They're like, what sin did we commit, God, for this to be done to our nation? What did we do? They took it as a punishment. They took that God was punishing them because of sins that they committed. Not that he's abandoned them and then now they've become Muslims.
There's I think it was, someone told me, Heraclius, the emperor, apparently when Islam started spreading and taking over large swathes of the area, apparently he did this thing where he confessed to sin, which was something really weird, like he had relations with his niece or something, and he associated his own sin, with the coming of Islam. So he was like, God is punishing me, being an emperor, doing this sin, by allowing Islam to come in. And I always thought, that's such a... Oh, Issa's here.
Speaking of Muslims bringing punishment, now we have Issa here.
David, I'm gonna reset my computer real quick because I do have an audio lag, so I'll be back in like a minute.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'm just gonna go for a little bit. Now Issa's here, but
yeah. Jai is running from Issa's powerful dawah. All right, here we go.
desert by the sea. Like whirlwind sweeping through the Negev, an invader comes from the desert, from a land of terror. A dire vision is declared to me. The traitor still betrays, and the destroyer still destroys. Go up, O Elam, lay siege, O Media. I will put an end to all her groaning. So God is essentially saying to these different neighboring nations, I'm going to be the one to bring an end to Babylon using these nations. Okay. Therefore,
from a nation of terror. All you have to do, Itchy, at that point is quote Muhammad saying, I've been made victorious with terror. Boom, slam dunk case. Islamic terror is the fulfillment of this prophecy.
Body is filled with anguish. Pain grips me like the pains of a woman in labor. I am bewildered to hear. I am dismayed to see. My heart falters. Fear makes me tremble, etc., etc. Okay, this is where the actual prophecy is told. So it says, "For this is what the Lord says to me: Go post a lookout and have him report what he sees. When he sees chariots with teams of horsemen, riders on donkeys, riders on camels, he must be alert, fully alert." So from verse 6, it's talking about a watchman who posts a lookout. And what the Jewish rabbis, they interpret this as being Habakkuk, and they link it to Habakkuk chapter 2, where he is the watchman who is posted as a lookout in regards to prophecy. Now, it continues, like I said, I'm going to get back to verse 7 as well, because that one's very important. So it says, then the lookout shouted, day after day, my Lord, I stand on the watchtower night after night, I stay at my post, look, here come the riders, horsemen in pairs, and one answered saying, fallen, fallen is Babylon. So 2 falls, remember that. All the images of her gods lie
Oh, so she's interpreting fallen, fallen as 2 falls. That's going to be interesting if you take that as a standard in the Bible.
So I didn't really catch on to this when she was saying this, because she was just
Yo! What? 1 second. Since you guys are going to comment on this, I'm going to run and check on my son real quick. I'll be right back.
Cool. Yeah. So I didn't really catch this because really, I just didn't even think what she was bringing was worthwhile. Really, even trying to like sort of tackle, at least in a technical sense, because I didn't even know what the point of any of this was. So I didn't question that. But someone, Rob from Rob Sentinel, he actually contacted me afterwards, and he was like, "Yeah, by the way, it never says like 2. She's getting it by the fact that it's repeated twice." And I was like, "What?" Because she makes a big deal out of this. She's like, "Yeah, it has to happen twice. That's the prophecy has to do this like in a very literal way twice," which she doesn't get to anyway, which is really weird. But yeah, that's strange.
I just came in near the end there, but was that because when she says fallen, that she thinks Babylon's going to fall twice?
That's what she gets. Yeah. Apparently.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Now to be fair, Anthony probably has a lot to say on that, but I just want to say there is some precedence for that within like Jewish interpretation that they do take that. I think the Targum for Isaiah interprets it that way, but that's not to say that that's the universal Jewish interpretation. If you look at Isaiah and how it's
there's all this additional like, you know what I mean? There's a lot of like things that she has to build on to get here.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not just like a if this then this. It's you start with this and you add a bit of this, you add a bit of this, you add a bit of this, you add a bit of this. Hopefully this all works.
View is that
maybe
it's Sorry, am I still lagging? I'm sorry about that.
No, sorry. It's probably me being awkward because I'm in Britain land.
Okay, my bad. Sorry if I interrupt. No, I'm sorry if I interrupt you. Did you finish what you were saying? I didn't want to.
Yeah. I'm done. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So like you have this elsewhere in Isaiah. I jotted down some references like just in Isaiah you have like in Isaiah 40, comfort. In Isaiah 51, Isaiah 52, awake. And then you have Isaiah 57, peace. And then elsewhere, like in Jeremiah, you have earth. You have the famous, this one in Isaiah 6, you might actually say that there's some significance to holy, but she wouldn't, which is funny. She wouldn't think there's something significant there. But when the Lord calls out to Paul, Saul, and, like the 3 woes in Revelation, Abraham when he's called in Genesis 22, Abraham, Moses. There's so many examples of this throughout the Bible, and to be fair, there are some interpretations of it that do take it to be 2 falls, like an initial one, then someone finishes it off, but that's not the universal interpretation, and that's not demanded by the fact that there's a repeated word. That's the point there. But Anthony's probably got a lot to say on that.
So what I would say Yeah, there's something interesting about this, but none of it doesn't. It doesn't matter which direction you go in terms of interpretive approaches to repetition. It still doesn't get you to Islam or what she's talking about, right? So there was a big dispute among really early Jews. So you have two schools of interpretation: the followers of Rabbi Akiva and then Rabbi Ishmael on the issue of repetition. So Akiva said there are no redundancies in Scripture. Everything has some kind of significance. And Ishmael was saying, no, it's just like other human speech where people sometimes repeat themselves or something like that. And, one obviously sounds more pious, the one of Akiva. It doesn't, but that doesn't mean that's the right one. I'm just saying it certainly sounds better, right? And I'm not going to get into where one must land on that sort of thing, but the basic idea, if you run with Akiva's view that everything has an independent value, and so the repetition of fallen would have to mean something distinct in both cases, that doesn't bring with it, I can't even imagine how she's going to get this to Muhammad. Is Arabia Babylon or what, but anyways, think about this though. Let's just run with this. In the book of Revelation, and I think she probably wants to bring this in here somehow, but I just don't see how she could get it to work in favor of Islam. But John is talking about, from his vantage point, a future fall of Babylon. And so all one would have to say here is the second fall is what John has in view. Now, I think John's just repurposing the language. What happens throughout the prophets is they often look at past wicked nations and they use those nations and the language that's employed for them to talk about other nations. So Israel is called Sodom, right? It's called Egypt. Yeah. It's called all these names because what God is saying is you're just like those wicked nations. And so all John is doing in the book of Revelation is he's taking this name from a well-known wicked nation that was opposed to his people, and he's now using it to refer to some other entity. I'm not going to get into all that eschatological stuff. I have a definite view, but I mean the point is all John is doing is repurposing it, and again, I just can't even imagine how this is supposed to get you to Islam. Like, yeah, where does yeah? I mean,
did we point out yet that? Sorry, did we point out yet that Muhammad never conquered Babylon?
Well, it never got to it never got to that point where I was saying that because it never even got there. So,
yeah. So Muhammad never actually conquered Babylon or Iraq. He never did. That was Abu Bakr who started the conquest, and then Omar who kind of like expanded it. But
I think that's Muhammad why she's specifically saying the Muslim people or something like that.
Well, that's gonna be important with what exactly she's saying here, because first she said like Muhammad, then she said the Ishmaelites, and so it's like, okay, well, you got to be really specific with your language and what it's saying. But remember, her overall point is that this proves that Muslims are God's people. So, I mean, that's all right. Let's see how she makes that case.
Well, it's about to be powerful. Here we go.
On the ground. Okay, so.
One second. Someone here pointed out Babylon fell to Persia, not Muslims. Yeah, that's why she's going with like some
double
later. Yes, that's why she emphasizes the fallen. There's two falls somehow, and so.
Oh wait, yeah, she's gonna eventually say something like, "It's the caliphate that does it," and that's the second one.
Yeah. Oh yeah, this becomes really problematic because Cyrus, she claims Cyrus continued to worship Babylonian, at least a Babylonian god. So therefore, the idolatry wasn't destroyed, which is what the prophecy says, that the gods will fall and the idols will be destroyed.
Yeah, the idols will be in pieces. Yeah.
But here's the thing. Okay, so if you take her view, which is that if that's true, Babylon falling and the gods of Babylon falling means everything that is not Islamic monotheism Well, guess what? Muslims didn't accomplish that either, because this is a big Shia part of the world, which she doesn't consider them to be Muslims because of things like shirk. So that whole part of the world, like Iraq, especially historically in Persia, these were Shia. Like you have like the shrine to Ali and Karbala and things like that. So all of these things are not what she would consider to be Islamic monotheism.
No, so these are the people of God, Jai. So that's another one. Itachi, that's an easy short video, man. Itachi proves Shias are the true Muslims. Pretty straightforward, right? The ones.
That's good.
The only way around that, and it sounds like she doesn't get there, but the only way around that I could think is if she's going with, the second fall of Babylon is actually about Rome or the Roman Empire or something like that, and it's Muslims, and it's actually talking about the fall of Constantinople because the Roman Empire, something like that. But apparently she doesn't get there.
Oh, okay.
I'm just guessing. I'm trying to make it coherent, and I can't. But I'm trying to make it as coherent as I can, and. Maybe.
Welcome to Islam.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Anthony, is this in that? I know, because I'm asking anything because I know he's at least looked at this book. But is this in Abraham Fulfilled, this prophecy? Do you know if that's in there?
Oh, I haven't finished that book.
Yeah, IP's the one who's read that. You could.
I know, but I know he was working on it as. Yeah, he was. IP. Yeah, IP. Yeah.
Yeah, IP read that whole book. You should text them and ask if they use that one.
Okay.
Because that might be where they got it from. Actually, I think I've got it on Kindle. I could might be able to check. Let's listen a little more.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's the entire prophecy.
Okay, right.
Now, we have a few things that we have to talk about. All right. We have the four. Oh, well, actually, I got to show you the four individuals because you're not going to see it from the actual translation because you guys corrupt the translation.
I'm not sure where you're going with this.
She said you guys corrupt the translation.
Well, you're just telling me things.
That's why I'm getting to it. You said you don't know about it, so I have to educate
tell me the brief idea, and then I can follow you with it. But don't just read stuff at me and be like, you understand that? Yeah, but like, okay, I'll read 1 Corinthians. Let's do it.
We're talking about a prophecy. What are you talking about?
Well, my point is that if you're going to make an argument that something is a prophecy, please explain how you understand it to be a prophecy.
The title of the thing is a prophecy against Babylon.
What I'm saying is you need to explain what you're arguing, because otherwise, like, I don't think anyone knows what you're getting at here.
I told you
you said something about
two falls of Babylon.
Two falls about. Okay, what's that got? Okay, what does that connect?
Historically speaking,
you haven't said.
You
haven't said.
Yes, I did.
You didn't. You just said there are two falls of Babylon.
Yes, and historically speaking, what we know is that there are two falls of Babylon that occur.
Yeah.
Okay? One of them occurs during the time of Cyrus and Darius.
Okay.
That's during Isaiah's time and so on.
Itachi, what's that got to do with prophecy?
This is the prophecy.
Okay. Wait, are you saying that it's prophesying that it will fall? That is it.
They're going to take over Babylon.
Okay, that's a prophecy. Okay, that's a prophecy in particular, right?
Okay.
Not that it's 2 times, or is that important?
No, it is 2 times. It is important.
Okay, right. So it's specifically the timeline. All right, okay.
What we see in Isaiah chapter 21, verse 7, if you go to Bible Hub and you click on the interlinear, what you'll actually see is that this is not in the plural. So what we see in the translations, it puts the horsemen as in a plural, so meaning a conglomerate of horsemen, a conglomerate of horse riders, and a conglomerate of camel riders. Yeah, when we actually look at the Hebrew, it has all of these in the singular minus the pair of horsemen because a pair is 2. So we'll have it obviously in the plural, or the dual plural. So what we see is that it's 2 horsemen, 1 donkey rider, and 1 camel rider. Now, historically speaking, according to the Jews and the Christians, Cyrus and Darius are representative of the 2 horse riders. Okay. Then the donkey rider is representative of the Messiah, and they link this to Zechariah chapter 9, verse 9, where it talks about, see our king who comes lowly to us, riding on the foal of a donkey, and so on. Then we have the camel rider, and many more modern Jews will say that this is in reference to the Ishmaelites and the Arabs, because generally speaking, the camels are representative of the desert, as it states in the prophecy. Okay, so what we have is these 4 individuals. Okay, we don't know who the camel rider is. I'm going to leave that to you to interpret at the end. Okay, or for the audience. Now, the 2 horsemen, Cyrus and Darius, we know historically speaking, according to the Cyrus cylinders, right, that they went into Babylon during the 500s and so in 50 CE, and they take over Babylon. Okay, now here's the problem. In that same passage, it says that all the images of Babylon's gods lie shattered on the ground. Okay, and here's the problem. Cyrus, when he goes into Babylon, he starts worshiping those idols according to the Cyrus cylinders, which we date back to his time period specifically. So obviously the idols are not destroyed by Cyrus in his time period. When Darius comes into the picture, Darius is not, he's not taking over Babylon.
But how does he know? That seems like an inference.
Well, how does he know what? Sorry.
So wait, you said he didn't destroy it because they still have some. Is that your point?
No, the Cyrus cylinder says that he prayed to their idol. What? So I can read it for you if you want.
So wait, hang on. You said I'm confused to try and see what you're getting at.
I got you. So in the Cyrus cylinder, okay. 1 second. Let me put it up for you.
Wait, real quick. Do you see what I mean by she just goes into really specific technical stuff, but doesn't explain how any of it sort of relates back to anything else? Is anyone else getting that, or is it just me?
Yeah, I mean, she's going in there and saying, oh, okay, because it mentions multiple animals, therefore it's talking about different groups who are represented. So, yeah, the horse, that refers to Cyrus and Darius. The donkey, that refers to Jesus, and the camel, I'm guessing, is Muslims, and so this is just weird stuff. And hey, Muslims, when the Quran says we find Muhammad mentioned in the Torah and the Gospel, you think this is what it's talking about? These kinds of deranged gymnastics of then you have to go to this, then you have to go. Oh, and I have to say, if you're saying that this somehow refers to what Muslims do later, something like that, to be clear, this couldn't have possibly been what the Quran was referring to when it said we find Muhammad mentioned in our scriptures, right? Because this would be Muslims during the time of Muhammad who are supposedly finding Muhammad mentioned in our scriptures. It couldn't have possibly been about stuff in the future that we had no clue what was going to happen, right? So anyway, the point is this couldn't be what the Quran is even referring to there, but I don't know. But yeah, that's
exactly how I say it.
This is just a mess.
This is like trying to prove that actually you can argue that Muhammad is in the Bible by not really talking about Muhammad and talking about other things that have nothing to do with him and his status as a prophet, but to do with just Islam potentially, and maybe, like Jai said, not even in a good way. So how does this help her? It's so confusing to me.
Yeah, if you say Muslim, that Muslims are part of the fulfillment of this prophecy. Okay, so was Cyrus, right?
Exactly.
She said it. She said it. Cyrus is part of the fulfillment. What's that got to do with Cyrus's religion being true? Well, I mean, that would tie in if they want to say that Dul Qarnayn is Cyrus, because he's an devout Muslim. Because he's a devout Muslim. There we go.
And that's why the Quran is a reliable source of prophecy.
It's powerful stuff.
Yeah, as we predicted, this does occur in Abraham fulfilled. IP just texted me back and he said, "Yep, it does. It does exist."
So what they did was they opened up Abraham fulfilled. They said, "Let's find one that's so dumb that no one has used yet against at Speaker's Corner, and we'll just roll with that one." Because no one's gonna be familiar with it, and we could just say, "Oh, and the scholars this," and no one's gonna be familiar with what we're talking about. So, all right, good to know. Let's see.
Also, wait, one thing on this this thing here that she's making a big deal about. If you go to Bible Hub, you're gonna see that this is singular. If anyone who looks at this and you look at multiple translations of this, you're gonna see that there's some difference in translation. Some understand it to be singular and some understand it to be a plurality. Why? Because this is a collective noun. It's like saying the word team is singular, but it constitutes multiple people. So the word used, rachav, which in modern Hebrew just means like a vehicle, but back then it meant like a chariot or what's interesting is that this word also, so the word chaf is also kaf. So if you say it you might sound, if I say it with like a K sound, you might recognize what it sounds like. You say rakab, you might be like, oh, doesn't it sound like yarkabun? It's related to that word to ride. So the actual cognate of
this is the proof.
Yeah, the actual word in Arabic.
Muhammad was the camel because they rode him.
Yeah, yeah, and
he's from the desert and he got rode by the men of Al-Zut. So Muhammad is prophesied as a camel.
It just means, yeah, it means like a caravan, which doesn't necessitate one person riding it or something like that. So you do have like some translations will say rider, or some will say chariot, but if you see the word used, it's in Psalm chapter 68. Just want to make sure I got the right verse. Verse 17. Psalm 68, verse 17. It says, the Rechev of God are tens of thousands. They're like this myriads. So this is, yes, it's a singular, true, but that can be a plurality as well because of, linguistically, it's a collective noun. Like a gang. Gang is singular, but it's like consists of multiple people, right? So anyway, this whole point that she's making, which funny enough, this is the cognate word that's used of Muhammad getting ridden, and so there's some connection there. It doesn't prove her point, and that's why like you do have like the Septuagint, for example, that will make it like singular, like a singular donkey rider, a singular camel rider. But there's other translations like in the Targum, for example, or just other understandings just based on the Hebrew itself. You'll see that it's a plurality. So that also messes up her argument too, because although I think she claims to be like a Hebrew expert or something, Chris, if I'm not mistaken, but actually the Hebrew doesn't actually make it. It doesn't make it clear knowing Hebrew. It doesn't make it any more specific as to what it is, singular or plural, because you have Jewish tradition and Christians scholars who render it both ways, because the Hebrew is not entirely clear there as to what's being referred to or how many are being referred to.
Jai, you said that they render it both ways, but Muhammad went both ways. So this is further proof. And he was the camel who got rode by the men of Al-Zut. That'd be a good video. Itachi proves Muhammad was ridden by the men of Al-Zut, and he was their little camel boy. They said, yeah, you're a camel boy. Hey, Anthony, you familiar with this? Marion says, I haven't heard this before. Marion said, I don't know how true this is, but I've heard that the exclamation point wasn't invented yet when people wrote the Bible. So wherever we would write an exclamation point, they would repeat a word instead. You ever heard that?
I haven't heard it put this way, but I mean, that would be a view of many people, that repetition is a way of emphasizing or highlighting or something like that. And you even have, so for example, think of Joseph's dreams. Joseph gets more than one dream. And then he says, the reason for this is because God is saying this is certain. Because you can have God saying something's going to happen contingent on this, right? Like if you don't repent, this is going to happen. But if you repent, I won't do that. But then there's
this is happening no matter what. Like it or and that's like a big exclamation point on it.
Yeah. And so, repetition would be one way of doing that. You can, like, this is really happening, right?
All right, let's see.
It's better actually if you read.
Well, okay, so Cyrus came in and destroyed Babylon, right?
And then he gave praise to their idols.
Okay, and that's important because
in that passage in Isaiah, it says all the images of its gods lie shattered on the ground, meaning the idols have to be destroyed. Okay.
So you're saying that didn't happen?
Yeah, it didn't happen during Cyrus's time.
So, but you're interpreting that to be, in order for it to be that, it has to be all of them.
Have to be gone.
Right.
Idolatry has to be gone in the land.
Not that he's just destroyed a lot of them and
no,
so on.
Idolatry has to be gone. Right, that's how it's understood. And as well as the fact that this is
this language is used all over the Bible where it doesn't. It's just like the stuff where, and I think Chris is already on the trail of this, right? I can tell by what he's saying, but like when it talks about people going in and wiping the whole group out, they don't necessarily wipe them all out. But when God destroyed Egypt, he pummeled it with plagues and then took Israel out. In Exodus 12, it says that he's doing battle with their gods. He's defeating their gods. Mm-hmm. But
exactly,
they continued believing in those gods. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the. By the way, that's the interpretation that I've seen about Isaiah 21 with the like your idols are in pieces. It's like your gods have been wrecked. Your gods have been wrecked because they're supposed to be protecting you and keeping you in power and stuff like this, and they just got wrecked. It's not. It doesn't have to mean like actual pieces of idols on the floor. But so, guess what? I'm willing to grant. Wherever she wants to go. I'm willing to grant it. That okay, Cyrus wasn't the true fulfillment of that. Where are you going? Show us that Muslims are the true fulfillment, and then show us that therefore, this means that they're not just another group of pagans who are God's instruments of judgment on other pagans, but this actually means these are the people of God, and it's not talking about Shias.
Yeah.
Okay. So
we don't really think in these terms today. I mean, maybe some do, but you think of like a nation being defeated is like, okay, their God couldn't save them. That's how they fell. That's how they were defeated. Your God couldn't save you. And later on in Isaiah, the symbolism or whatever you want to call it, or the language being used is explained. Go to I'm just pulling up Isaiah 46 right now, and it says, Bel bows down, Nebo stoops. Their idols were on the beasts and on the cattle. Your carriages were heavily loaded, a burden to the weary beasts. So it's like it's like your gods couldn't save you. This is how they were defeated. This is how they were destroyed. It's not saying that Cyrus is going to become like this, monotheistic prophet that everyone needs to follow or something. Like this is, yeah. Anyway, so it's just there's so much being read into something that is not about Muhammad at all. But like we've been pointing out, even if it were to be about Muhammad, it doesn't prove anything about Islam. It doesn't prove anything to be about Islam at all. So that's I just wanted to say that.
So just to repeat, guys, the Bible does use language like this where you don't have to have actual pieces of idols on the ground. It's talking about your gods. They're garbage. They're garbage now. They've been exposed. They couldn't do anything. They couldn't do anything to stop God, the real God's plans. But again, I'm willing to go ahead and grant extremely literal interpretation. The idols have to be crushed. So she's got to show that Islam did that, and that it's saying that these are true people of God with the true religion, and it better not refer to Shias taking over, something like that.
I'll tell you what. There's two falls. According to both Jews and Christians, it's supposed to be two falls. So either way, it's not going to be fulfilled during Cyrus's time. I'm just making the point even clearer. Okay? Okay. Here, and I'll show you that he also worships these idols and stuff. So here it says Cyrus's prayer. May all the gods whom I settled in their sacred centers as Bailey of Bel and Nabu, that my days be long, and may they intercede for my welfare.
Here she's showing what? That Cyrus... Yeah, Cyrus is pretty laid back. Cyrus is okay with anyone's religious beliefs as long as they're paying their tribute money and they know who's in charge.
Yeah, so the argument's going to be, since it assumes a utter decimation of their idols, what Cyrus did couldn't be the final fulfillment of this. This is a twofold fulfillment. Mm-hmm. There's an initial fulfillment with Cyrus, and then of course the later fulfillment has to be somehow connected to Muhammad. Mm-hmm. So how's she going to get there? That's the good question.
You're about to see, man. You're about to see. Here it goes.
I'm waiting. I'm chomping at the bit.
I just think it's so funny how like as I said, there are traditions that do say that there are two falls within Jewish tradition, but that's not the universal view or even the main view. But just because it says fallen, and like that's her logic. So if we apply that to elsewhere, like okay, there's two Abrahams then, because when God called he said Abraham, or he said Moses, or Saul. There's two Sauls.
There's the Muslim Abraham and the
yeah. But then in Jeremiah it says earth. So that means there's three earths, not seven. There's three.
Hey, and
you know what they say? Don't say three, say one.
Hey, and in Isaiah, same book, holy, holy, holy. That means three persons, and that confirms the Trinity. Boom,
now,
boom.
At the same time, so I was going back to what I said before. Like even if you grant that the repetition is not just for emphasis, but
which
also
I will
brings something else out. it doesn't have to mean what she's talking about, right? Like it may be, there may be some significance to Abraham beyond just emphasis, but it doesn't mean there's two Abrahams, right? Like you can grant the underlying idea that Akiva was after without granting what some people would do with it, right?
Yeah.
So she has to do a whole lot more work is what I'm getting at than just saying, oh, look, some Jews, they interpreted saying fallen twice means, that this is important or significant. Because I can already tell you that taking the view that it refers to two, I can do that, and I can show you where the Bible locates the second occurrence of Babylon's fall, and it has nothing to do with Muhammad.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I'll wait to see what she does, and then I'll bring that up.
Yeah.
Let's see. You only get one shot, Itachi. Here it goes.
Say to Marduk, my lord, as for Cyrus the king who reveres you and Cambyses his son. Okay, so it makes it very clear, historically speaking, Cyrus did not, condemn idolatry or anything of the sort, and this is only referring to the first pope. Now, when it comes to the second,
I don't know.
That's fine. You don't know, it's fine. I mean,
it seems like a bit of a stretch. That's what I'm getting at.
What's the stretch? This is the way that it's interpreted by the Jews.
So he did go in and conquer it.
He conquered Babylon,
right.
But he didn't destroy the idolatry.
Well, this is the thing. With prophecies, you can't just be like, okay, let's try to get a hyper literal view of something and say that this is definitively how it's meant to be understood. Because again, as you know, wait, Itachi. What I'm saying is, I assume this is important somewhere, right? Which is why you're bringing it up. What I'm saying is,
I'm going to show you why.
Okay.
Dude, you should have called her like Korah like 9 times. That would have been funny.
Yes. So it is important, right? So what I'm saying is, just because you have a view among some rabbinic Jews, for example, about how they interpret a prophecy, is it unified? Is this all?
Yes.
Regarding this exact Cyprus thing?
This, yes. Okay.
Complete unity, man. You rarely see that these days.
Well, what do you mean?
I forgot she said that to me.
Complete unity, man. Yeah. 100%. It's unanimous, dude. Unanimous. Which part don't you understand?
Unanimous in Jewish tradition?
Hang on. Little side note. Go ahead, Jai.
Yeah, I know. I mean, if you just do a cursory reading of like any tradition in Jewish tradition, you're going to see there's like there's tons of explanations and traditions explaining things, and there's never one view on something in Jewish tradition. This is so to claim that there's only one view. That requires substantial evidence for that.
Yeah, burden of proof would be on you for that huge claim. Yeah. If you want to say, hey, there's a rabbi who said this or a rabbi who said that, well, great, you can find a rabbi who said almost anything. But exactly. When you're saying consensus, they're unanimous on that. That's pretty crazy. So Jai messaged IP to ask him if this is from Abraham Fulfilled, and IP said yes, this is one of their terrible, stupid arguments. But IP sent a slide. He said, this is a brief history of Babylon. And he's saying none of the falls of Babylon had anything to do with Islam. So it says, in 539 BC, Babylon fell to the Medes and Persians. In 331 BC, Alexander the Great defeated Darius III and conquered Babylon. In 116 AD, the Roman Emperor conquered Babylon and Mesopotamia. Uh-oh. Roman Emperor wasn't worshiping those idols. By the 7th century AD, Babylon was no longer a metropolis. It was a small village with its temples long abandoned. Oh, so it had already fallen apart, and any prophecy about Babylon and its idols was already fulfilled. There is no record of the Muslims destroying the idols of Babylon. There was no massive city for the Muslims to even destroy in the 7th century. So, sorry, Itchy. Doesn't seem to work. Doesn't seem to work. All right, start this again.
Majority position is that.
Okay. So there are actually other positions than this.
Yeah, random people that think that Babylon is spiritual. If you want me to go on TikTok, open up
this is my point.
There's a guy that thinks that Babylon's American.
No one is convinced by your argument. No one's convinced by your argument. I've already demonstrated to you. Yeah, no one in scholarship thinks that Isaiah 21 and the two Babylons have anything to do with Muhammad. No, none of them do.
No, that's not true. I already told you that they're.
None of them true. Okay, let's talk to Nikolai Sinai, Gabriel Stein, Reynolds, Stephen Shoemaker. Think of any scholar that isn't already a Muslim and ask him if he thinks Isaiah 21 is about Muhammad.
want Jews?
No, what scholarship?
Yes, Jewish scholars. They're Jewish rabbis.
Why are you obsessed with Jews? Look, I don't care if they're Jewish, Christian, atheist, agnostic, I don't care.
And you say, I don't care what you have to say about the book, just listen.
She only wants to give me Jewish scholarship.
I don't care about your understanding of
It has to be Jews. Can't be anyone else.
You're being ridiculous.
No, I'm saying we should accept anyone.
So
and you're saying only the Jews.
Why am I going to take what you're saying? Why am I going
Because
to take yours? Why can't I take the Jewish
do you
scholars?
accept scholarship from non-Jews?
Can I take the Jewish scholars?
Yes. Can you also take?
Do I have to take your scholars?
Can you take
Do
any
I
other?
have to take
Can you
them?
take any other?
Do I have to take
Can you take any
them?
other?
Do I have to?
You don't have to, but you look a bit
Beautiful,
silly.
so I don't care
You
about
look a
that.
bit silly
So I don't care
if
about
you
that.
are saying
I
that you
can
can
show you
only
that other
accept
people
Jewish
interpret it.
scholarship and not other
Hey,
scholarship.
bro, listen, sit down. There's a stool right there. Just sit down.
But you see, you're making blunders left, right, and centre. The blunder is you refuse to. Okay, my point. Scholarship rejects what she's saying. I want her to explain what that is. She refuses to do so.
Show me.
Easy. Every single scholar that is a scholar of listen.
Oh, actually, IP messaged me and said, her argument isn't from Abraham fulfilled. That's interesting because this one is actually, I mean, that book is filled with really, really stupid arguments, and this one is even too stupid for Abraham fulfilled. He said they used a different part of that chapter, and I'm guessing where they mention Arabia, because anytime you see Arabia, that must be Muhammad. It must be Muhammad and Islam. That one doesn't even work because the part about Arabia, it says this will be fulfilled within a year. So
yeah, within the
not definitely not during the time of Muhammad. Let's see.
Oh, so it's the passage. The
yeah, he says
Arabia, not
yeah,
the passage we're talking about.
Yeah,
now.
so you asked about Isaiah 21. He said, yeah, but so he messaged me and said, yeah, but oh yeah, they use Isaiah 21, but not this one. So this is a special kind of dumb.
This is very simple. Very simple.
You guys push back just a little bit.
Show me the scholars.
Yeah. Every single scholar.
Give me a scholar that rejects what I'm saying about the two walls of Babylon.
Every single scholar who studies Isaiah, who is an expert in Isaiah, who is not already a Muslim, who doesn't believe in Muhammad, does not believe Isaiah 21 is a prophecy about Muhammad.
Beautiful. Okay, if I show you
okay, beautiful.
Jews, if I show you Jews that do say it is. Then
so wait, do you accept what I just said?
Sure, I believe that.
All right, there you go. Thank you.
I believe scholars don't believe
Itachi,
it
what
is
you've just
because
there
they
you
don't
go.
have
Thank you.
proper
There you
understanding
go.
of it.
There you go. So the experts.
What's that?
I mean, in principle, it's absurd for her to pretend that there are Jewish interpreters who think this is a positive prophecy about Muhammad, meaning identifying him as a prophet and the bringer of a new religion, the destroyer of idols, even if they in some way relate the text to Muhammad, right? But in other words, because if they believed that, then they'd be Muslims. I mean, just...
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't even make sense on the face of it to say there are Jews interpret. But like what Jai was talking about, you could have Jews that will relate this to Muhammad in some way. But the interesting thing is it's only after the fact, and it's not in the way she needs them to, right? It's only Jews that have first come face to face with Islam that even think of associating anything in this passage with Muhammad. And then, again, as Jai pointed out, they're not doing it the way she needs them to. They're not presenting Islam as the prophesied, true, consummated religion of God or something.
In other words, the commentaries are not commentaries, which are all over the place because, you got passages and you go, what fulfills this? Okay, Babylon being wrecked. Is that about this? Is that about this? Is that about this? Is there a double fulfillment? If so, what's the next one? Oh, they were conquered repeatedly. They were conquered by Alexander. They were conquered by the Romans. What is the fulfillment of this stuff? What she would need, if she's appealing to scholarship. Now, guess what? You could say, scholars are wrong. This is just what the text means. But if you're appealing to scholarship, what you would need from scholarship is, this is about Muhammad and the true people of God, the Muslims, conquering Babylon and destroying the idols. Something like that. But she's about to give that. She's about to give that powerful proof.
Oh wait, just one thing though, because just tying on to what Anthony said there, how sometimes after the fact they'll kind of be playful with the text and they'll point out things like what's happening in their day and how there's some fulfillment of that. One of the funny ones is in Daniel, Ibn Ezra actually talks about the black stone and how it's idolatry, and he links it to passages in Daniel how they're fulfilling some sort of idolatry with the black stone, and also the throwing this. I can't remember the exact details, but there's some pagan god that you would you'd throw stone, you'd worship with stones. And so when Muslims are throwing, the 3 stones at Satan, he linked it to a particular pagan practice. And so he's saying there's some fulfillment of something in Daniel, but it's because he sees this is clear idolatry. But Muslims would see that like her, and they were like, oh, well, you have Ibn Ezra here, famous, medieval Jewish scholar who's talking about Islam being prophesied in Daniel. It's like, yeah, he's calling you idolaters, and I was interested to see what the different Jewish scholars had to say when she brought this up. So she's like, name a Jewish scholar who's going into this idea that there's there's 2 falls of Babylon. And you just go. There's there's a whole list of them who say that, oh, the devil emphasis on fallen is just intensification, or there's going to be completed thing here. So the whole passage is it's in verse 9, right? And it says, "And look, here comes what is this? The New King James? This is New King James. Okay. And look, here comes a chariot of men with a pair of horsemen. Then he answered and said, Babylon is fallen, and all the carved images of her gods he has broken to the ground." Okay, so that's what so if we don't see, Muslims breaking idols on the ground, I think what IP's slide was pointing out there, then according to her, there's not an exact fulfillment of this, according to her. So we'll have to see that.
The understanding of it, but you do.
Yes, because I'm going to refute their understanding of it.
So wait, the consensus about people who study it for a living are wrong, but YouTubers online have got a correct view of it.
It's not a good argument.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
So anyway, let's get back to
That's absolutely terrible.
Yo, can somebody pull in the stool?
Sorry, mate. She's doing a great job. I think she's doing really well. I think she's doing great, man. I think she's doing. She doesn't give me them though. She doesn't give me them. Scholars.
I literally asked you if I could pull up the scholars.
For some reason, yeah, which is weirdly exclusively Jews apparently.
Yes, because
why?
they're the ones who gave us this text. Do they not hold the tradition coming from Moses? Is that not what you?
You know that people can study Isaiah.
So, did she just say this is from Moses? Wait, did she just say this is from Moses?
Did she?
Hang on.
That's really cool if she did.
Hang on.
Let's play that back.
Yeah.
Great, man. I think she doesn't give me them though. She doesn't give me them. Scholars.
I literally asked you if I could pull up the scholars.
For some reason, yeah, which is weirdly exclusively Jews apparently.
Yes, because
why?
they're the ones who gave us this text. Do they not hold the tradition coming from Moses? Is that not what you?
She just said it.
Yeah.
She just said, do they not hold that this is something from Moses? So I guess that's why they. I guess that's why they consider the whole. The whole Testament, the Torah. She thinks Moses wrote the entire Old Testament.
You see, now you have a serious problem. Yeah.
I was just going to say. So there's. Go ahead.
We both said. I was just going to say.
Buy him a Coke.
It reminds me of this meme where it's these 2 British guys are walking by each other and they bump shoulder and I'm sorry. Exchanging I'm sorry.
But yeah, if you're gonna say that all this additional stuff from the Tanakh was given to Moses, then you have a really interesting challenge ahead in terms of reconciling scholarship with the date ranges of Moses. And I don't know how on earth they would do that. They would basically just have to say, well, we don't accept any of it, really, which is quite radical, I think. But it's something to keep in mind.
So the point that I was going to make is she's playing a bit of a game here, bait and switch. I don't know that she's self-consciously doing this or just ignorantly, foolishly falling into this, but she's talking about being able to give you Jews who say this, what she's saying, and then she says they're the ones who gave us this text. There's absolutely no Jew she's going to quote prior to the time of Muhammad, but that's the Jew that she would have to quote in order to say they're the ones who gave us this. In other words, they gave us the text, so they have the inside scoop on what it means. But she's necessarily going to be quoting medieval rabbis. I mean, there's just no question about it. No pre-Muhammadan Jew said this passage was about a Muhammadan camel driver or something like that. It's not there. So you're talking exclusively about medieval Jews, and they're not the ones who per se gave us the text. And we have the text independently. I mean, we do have the Masoretic text being handed down by Masoretes, but I can assure you, you're not going to go find David Ben Asher talking about Muhammad in Isaiah 21. That doesn't exist. But you'll get Maimonides in medieval Islamic Spain, who's face to face with Muslims saying something. But anyway,
yeah,
that's a good point.
I mean, some of the interesting commentaries, they're like, oh, the reason why it mentions a donkey and a camel is because the leaders they were under siege, they were under attack, so they couldn't get on the horses because they just had to get anything they could to escape. So they just grabbed a donkey or they grabbed a camel, whatever they could to travel with. So their views are all over the place in terms of what this means in Jewish tradition. But like we've been pointing out over and over again, even if this is about Muslims conquering Babylon, it doesn't necessarily. What follows from that? Does it follow that Islam is true? Does it follow that the Quran? How do you get from this to this? It doesn't follow. So we're pointing out a number of issues with our interpretation methods, but like we've been granting over and over again, even if what follows from Muhammad fulfilling this, if that were the case, which we don't believe it is, but if it were the case, what follows? And that's when she's like a deer caught in the headlights. And I think to Chris's point, to Chris's point about Malik being really socially awkward, I heard him in the back. He when we listened to it the second time, we rewinded it. He was like baked in the back, and that was the worst time to say that, because you guys weren't even in heated discussion. You were just it wasn't even a point that she cooked you on or something like that. He's just sitting back there being really weird. And I think you're right. He does seem very uncomfortable in social settings. He moves around like he's addicted to some drug or something like that. He needs a fix, and he's shaking and moving up and down. He's very erratic and stuff.
Maybe he's just hungry. He hasn't eaten in 20 minutes, so he's getting hungry.
Oh, by the way, did you see he's very sensitive about his weight? He did a response to you on X, and he's very sensitive. Malik, you shouldn't let us know that you're sensitive about your weight, man.
Yeah, dude, bad mistake, dude. Poker face. Poker face. Never, ever, 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 ever let me know what you're sensitive about. Dude, come on.
Just let a psychopath know that you're sensitive about your weight.
Okay, so you pointed out, you started this stream, David, by showing Muslims who are going after Itachi, who's the new Korah, and you started the stream by showing those multiple Muslim posts doing that. So the first thing that Itachi's manager does is not defend her against these accusations, but it's to defend his weight.
Yeah.
So the thing that really matters most.
That reminds me of someone else. That reminds me of someone else who shall remain nameless. We'll just say his nickname is Shoo Shoo.
So,
hey, it'll be like, hey, Shoo Shoo. You lied about this person. You violated all these commands in the Bible, and you called this guy fat when you're bigger than him. What's going on? Oh my goodness! Let me. How dare you call me fat? Wait, what?
Islam
upset you?
breeds this. Mm-hmm. Right? Islam breeds this, right? So I've always thought it was interesting. If you were to ask a Christian about their attitude towards being a Christian, they would say something like, I'm grateful, right? I'm grateful that God loved me, Christ saved me, that sort of thing. You ask a Muslim, what do they normally say? They say, we're proud to be Muslims. That's a normal expression. I hear it all the time from Muslims. This for them is a point of pride. And I'm not saying they should be ashamed of their religion, but it's weird to me that this is the normal go-to way of thinking of it, right? I think of myself as undeserving, and I'm grateful. I don't, first of all, think I am proud to be, it's just a weird thing. Well, it's fitting to me that you have these people like Malik and so forth constantly concerned about their weight and these other things. On the other hand, I'm not saying everybody has to be like this, but I find it funny when people say, there was somebody in the chat just a moment ago, he said, does Anthony have a studio under a bridge? When I was laughing earlier, I wasn't laughing at what David said. I was laughing at what this person said in the chat because I thought it was pretty hilarious. So he's basically saying I look like some homeless dude, right? but here's Malik, overly sensitive about the way he looks, and just like Shushu, right? Which is a telltale sign of, where their religious mindset is.
Hey, look at this one. David Kazashi here makes a good point. Hey, if Mary existed in the time of Jesus, then Moses, her brother, also existed. Then you see, no wonder Moses wrote the entirety of the Old Testament. This could actually be their new position, and this may be Itachi's position. Hey, Anthony, remember, in the story of the burning bush, God says, Moses, Moses. He says Moses twice. This proves that there will be two Moseses. Maybe there's the original Moses, and he reveals the Torah, but then there's another Moses who's the brother of Mary, and he's the one who revealed, maybe he's the one, maybe the entire Old Testament was lost, and he's the one who put it all back together, so he's the new Moses. So Moses did write Isaiah. You know what's crazy, guys? Based on how she doubled down when she was like completely clueless and obviously wrong in the Islamic dilemma debate, I think she might go with that. I think she might say, yeah, well, prove that's not true. Prove it's not true. Crazy stuff, man.
Hey, wait, the Lord says, I am that I am. So he repeats I am twice.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
Right?
People can study Isaiah and not be Jewish.
He argued
that, right?
He argued with me earlier about the Jews and their oral traditions, and now all of a sudden he doesn't care about the Jews and their oral traditions.
It's all right. She's doing good. She's doing great. I think one of the best.
What's up?
Real quick. Yeah, just real quick. You can see what's going on, but basically they're all getting agitated with the fact that I'm being like quite dismissive about what she's saying because what she's saying isn't like reliable or valuable in any way. So they're just jumping in and trying to help out, but it's not going too well for them.
No, they can see she's not doing well, and she's not convincing you or the crowd. They're probably the ones who told her about this argument, and they were like, you know what, she's not doing what we told her to do, and or she might be doing the best job that any of them can do. Yeah.
What I imagine happened is they probably told her like, here's the argument, here's what you're gonna want to do. He might say this, so say this. But of course, I don't know that much, so I never say the thing that I'm supposed to say. So she goes on this like script that doesn't make any sense to her on listening because it doesn't seem to like arrive anywhere. So that's what I think anyway.
So I'm not in the loop. Why is she even the front person here? I'm not saying there's anything wrong with her talking, but why isn't Malik doing his part? Right? Why isn't he talking?
Malik sucks.
People?
Malik sucks. He knows he sucks. So.
So does she.
Yeah. So Malik came up with this brilliant idea that he'd be like the Dawa manager for Libiano and for Korra and Itachi and Maki and stuff, but he only gets people under his control by having dirt on them, right? By having dirt on them, and I think he's realized that the guys are willing to break off more, right? The guys are more willing to break away from him, knowing that he's going to like expose them and expose their stuff, like he did with the Warner, like he did with Libiano and stuff. They're more willing to face the music about things they've done than to be under his control. Whereas the ladies, when he's got pictures of them and so on, and knows about their sexual history and stuff like that, and how many guys they've been with on TikTok and so on. It's more difficult for the ladies to part ways with him. So his view was he would maintain complete control over the ladies and he'll be their manager. So it was supposed to be he was going to go to Speaker's Corner. This was planned for the past couple months, but he was supposedly going to go to Speaker's Corner with Korra and Itachi, and they're just going to take over the place. Problem was, Korra realized, I just can't stay under this dude's control. Yes, he's going to trash me. Yes, he's going to talk about my pictures. Yes, he's going to talk about my, in his words, 100 different boyfriends and stuff that I've had. But this guy stinks so bad, I just can't be around him anymore. I'll vomit. And so she broke off anyway. So he was kind of stuck with Itachi and Maki. And Maki's like the dumbest of the dumb, like beyond dumb. And so he's kind of stuck with her at this point. And he went through with the plan, and it's just not working at all.
And don't forget, part of the original plan was to also bring Libiano, and that the women were only supposed to debate women. That was also part of the plan. That,
yeah. So
that's why
Anthony,
they kept saying to Chris, like, are there any females here? Any because that was the original plan. That, like, you know, females could only debate females, and then Libiano and Malik were supposed to, or whatever. I guess Libiano and Malik was gonna be like, or like, you know, be like that weird guy in the crowd who just like the heckler or whatever.
So it was. I mean, it's not a terrible plan when you are going to have Libiano and Korra and Itachi, and so you've got a group that you're showing up with, and then these fifth tier people like Apex and so on. Problem is, Malik makes a plan, and then by the time it's time to go through with the plan, 2 out of the 3 people he was banking on want nothing to do with him anymore. So
man, that guy fails at everything.
All he does is fail.
Yeah.
Here we go.
One of the best, man. She has a few points, but she can improve.
Let it be in, bro. That's fine.
Mate, it's alright. They gotta jump in. They gotta jump in.
Man, it's fine. It's all good. Don't worry.
Itachi, most scholars and experts don't believe you are true, right? So you need overwhelming evidence to the contrary.
I got you.
Not just a hypothetical, overwhelming evidence. Do you have overwhelming evidence?
Look. This appeal to authority is going to get absolutely obliterated. I'm going to show him why his scholars have the wrong interpretation.
Wait, this is
he doesn't
funny.
want to even dig
All right.
into
Wait,
the
she's
So
been
first of
doing
all,
it
an
the
appeal
whole
to
time.
authority.
That was her point.
Yeah.
That was her
she's
point.
scholars. The scholars. The scholars say you're wrong. Oh, he's talking about scholars. I'm going to show all the scholars are wrong. What? You're saying scholars agree with you? This is just sad.
I know, because we can't get there because what you're saying makes no sense. So, an appeal to authority is fine as long as it's a valid authority. Is it fair for me to appeal to scholars of the Book of Isaiah?
Yeah, people. I just want to clarify this. Chris is correct here, guys. When you look up the actual fallacy, it's called irrelevant appeal to authority, right? You're appealing to an irrelevant authority. It's like saying, Dr. So-and-so agrees with my interpretation, but he's a doctor, like his field is like insects or something. Like he's an expert on insects, and he has a PhD in studying insect. Okay, his authority here is irrelevant, right? It's irrelevant to this. Appealing to an actual expert in a field is not irrelevant. That expert may be wrong. He may be wrong, but it's not irrelevant to appeal to someone. Anyway.
Yeah, in fact, I mean, if your doctor tells you to do something, you're in a good position to just trust exactly what your doctor is saying because they're an authority, or like your mechanic or something like that, or whoever. It's like, this is the idea that you just can't appeal to authorities. Like, I mean, you can't be an expert in everything, so it's like you have to appeal to authority on some point.
My doctor told me that if I eat my Adwa dates, they won't stop me from getting harmed by poison. But my religion did say otherwise. So,
yeah. Matter of fact, I remember reading about this when I was. This was up when I was in the Bronx, and this every time you turned on the radio, they were like plastering all over the radio these ads for this diet where you get these powders and stuff like this. But it came out like all the doctors who were affirming this, and I'm a doctor and blah blah blah. They were all chiropractors. It was a group of multiple chiropractors who are all, and this doctor affirms it, and now we're gonna get the confirmation from Dr. So-and-so. Hey, Dr. So-and-so and Dr. So, and they're all confirming each other and stuff like that, and getting all this great input on why this is the best diet.
Scam. Yeah, it was like the Cambridge University, Cambridge Training College thing, because they would make an accreditation thing, like they would make the accreditation like company, and then they'd get accredited by their own accreditation company. Yeah, so they're like all affirming each other.
Yeah, and so people were getting this diet, which is like limiting you to like 500 calories a day of like some powders that you mix in some stuff, and I don't know if it was sound or not sound or something like that, but eventually pointed out, guys, everyone who's promoting this is part of this little group of chiropractors who are trying to get rich off this, and everyone thinks they've got all these medical doctors, but it's a bunch of chiropractors. So anyway, yeah, it's correcting.
Yes, of course it is. Now, when I do this, they don't agree with what you're saying.
Bring it. bring the scholars that disagree with what I'm saying right now. Go ahead.
I've asked you, and you have agreed with me. The consensus is they don't agree with you.
I never said consensus. I never said consensus. I
said wait. Hang on. Are you saying the consensus is that they do agree with you? Is the consensus they do agree with you?
I never said it's consensus or not consensus. You're adding.
No, it has to be one way or the other, right? Either the majority do or majority don't. So which way is it?
50-50?
50-50. An equal number of scholars both think that Isaiah 22 is about Muhammad and don't think it's about Muhammad.
This is actually so sad. Guys, he said he
Isaiah 21,
had no idea about this prophecy in the Bible. He had nothing.
But I'm appealing to scholarship. She's appealing to nothing. You've already admitted on camera, you've already admitted that most scholars do not accept this.
Okay, which scholar? Can you name one?
Why do I need to?
Well, I mean, think about this. This is just insane. She's already acknowledged that that scholars are against her on this. She brings up an insane argument, so insane that it's not even an Abraham fulfilled. This argument is designed so that no one has ever heard of it before. And then, what do the scholars say about this? As if you, just standing at Speaker's Corner, would have a list of scholarly interpretations of Isaiah 21.
Well, he's taking her word because she actually said that earlier on, and now she's contradicting herself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Because remember what she said was, she said, I'm going to quote your scholars and then refute them. That's what she said.
What I absolutely love is I love her ability to think on the spot and just not like analyze it. You know, like think, is this actually a good thing to say? She'll just say it. Just like, can it be 50-50?
No, that seems to be the training for these ladies of Dawa and the TikTok crowd. It's just keep talking, It doesn't matter. Just sound confident and just keep rattling stuff off. It doesn't matter. You could contradict yourself 5,000 times. You could be all over the place. It can make absolutely no sense. There are enough complete idiots out there, the products of 40 generations of first cousin marriage, who can't understand anything anyone's saying. Focus on impressing them. And then you get a kind of mob group agreeing with you. Here we go.
That they do.
Do you reject what I'm saying?
Can I bring my scholar that says it?
Do you reject what I'm saying?
I don't
Notice,
reject what you're
I answered
saying.
her question.
Now, do you agree that
she doesn't reject what I'm saying. So she does agree with me that the majority consensus does not hold her view and thinks that Isaiah 21 is not a prophecy about Muhammad. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is good.
That I'm going to refute the Jewish and Christian understanding. Is that not what I said, guys? Is that not what I said, everybody? I said I'm going to refute the Jewish and Christian understanding. So I already acknowledged that they have a
No, I'm saying.
What's up?
In saying that, she's admitting that they don't agree with her.
Yeah.
And then they're like making fun of Chris for saying, how do you know the scholars don't agree with me? Because you're saying over and over again that you're going to refute them, which means they don't agree with you. Like you said, David, it's
who are you refuting if they agree with you? Who are you refuting if everyone agrees with you?
Yeah.
Itachi? You're saying you're going to refute the Jews and the Christians. And then when he says, okay, so Jews and Christians don't agree with you. Prove that. Prove it. This is weird stuff, man.
I'm not an expert. I'm an expert. I wrote a book about it. But I'm not an expert in this topic. But are you an expert in this topic?
From the audience who wants to talk about it.
Do you know Hebrew?
This passage I do.
Now she doesn't want to talk to me. Do you know Hebrew?
Guys,
that's amazing. Do you know Hebrew? Do you know Hebrew?
Any Jew or Christian that wants to come from the audience who wants to talk about it.
Do you know Hebrew?
This passage I do.
Now she doesn't want to talk to me. Do you know Hebrew?
On this passage.
Do you know Hebrew?
On this passage I do.
Okay. He said you know Hebrew, and she said on this passage I do. That's weird to. That's weird to be an expert on Hebrew on one passage, but not in anything else.
I mean, if all you're saying is I know what a word is in Hebrew or a handful of words or something,
that's not an expert in Hebrew.
You don't know. Yeah, but you don't know Hebrew, right? You don't know.
Yeah.
And you can't know what's going on in this passage in the sense of knowing Hebrew without having an ability then to read other passages. That involves knowing grammar and syntax and all that.
Exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
By those standards, I know about 30 languages, just so you guys know, by those standards. Because
that's pretty impressive.
I can give you some words from all those different languages.
Yeah. Hey, I know words. I know words like Muhammad and stuff like that. I'm an expert in Arabic. At least on that passage. At least on that passage.
Wait. Jai, I know Arabic just as well as you do now. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, darn right.
See?
Yarkaboon, baby. Yarkaboon.
Yep.
All right, so this is all good to know.
Man.
She's an expert in Hebrew on this passage, by which she means Malik and the rest of the TikTok Dawa dorks put together a document for her, and they said, "Oh, and when Chris brings this up, then say the Hebrew for this means this," and that's enough for her to declare herself an expert in the Hebrew of Isaiah 21 specifically. This is all good to know, man. Dawa 2026, doing a bang-up job here.
Can you give me the Hebrew letters of the
I said this passage.
Yeah, it includes Hebrew letters from the ladies and gentlemen.
Kahomar, it says Kahomar is in the singular. There you go. Now,
So now that we've established that Itachi is the expert in Hebrew,
what'd you do? You just say, "Hey, name the Hebrew letters"?
It was like cutting out there, but basically I said, "Can you name the Hebrew letters of the alphabet?" And she just went, and then said something like, "That's not relevant to Isaiah." And I said, "But there are Hebrew letters in the book of Isaiah," or something like that. But yeah, it's just really silly. Just play it back.
She kind of let's play it back. Let's see if we can, because she tries to say something in Hebrew and. Pretty sure she says it incorrectly, but I gotta hear it again.
She does actually, yeah.
So she doesn't know the letters of the alphabet, but nevertheless she is an expert on the Hebrew of Isaiah 21.
Of Isaiah.
Good to know. Good to know.
Knows the book of Isaiah to an expert level, which is what you've said.
Do you want me to just talk to the cameras? You don't want to
Itachi,
actually.
you humble yourself. If you humble yourself,
I humble myself.
you'll look a lot better.
Wait, can we go back? I want to hear the Hebrew she tries to say. She tries to say some Hebrew. It's just
not sure how. I'll start playing it. Tell me if I need to go back further.
So now that we've established that Itachi is the expert in Hebrew, she knows
more.
Go back. Yeah, more. It's when I ask her, "Are you an expert?" Basically.
Let's see.
Passage I do.
Okay, can you give me the Hebrew letters of the
more?
Yeah.
No, that's it.
Just a tiny bit more. That's
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
Let's see. Here we go. I went back. Here we go.
I'm an expert. I'm not an expert. I'm an expert. I wrote a book about it. But I'm not an expert in this topic. But are you an expert in this topic?
I'm from the audience and wants to talk about it.
Do you know
on
Hebrew?
This passage I do.
Now she doesn't want to talk to me. Do you know Hebrew?
Guys,
that's amazing. Do you know Hebrew? Do you know Hebrew?
Any Jew or Christian that wants to come from the audience and wants to talk about it.
Do you know Hebrew?
This passage I do.
Now she doesn't want to talk to me. Do you know Hebrew? You know Hebrew?
On this passage I do.
Okay, can you give me the Hebrew letters of the
I said on this passage.
Yeah, it includes Hebrew letters from the ladies and gentlemen.
Kahomar, it says Kahomar is in the singular. There you go. Now there's
so now that
that's what. So someone gave her the word and said that this is the word in the singular. This is enough for her to declare that she is an expert in the Hebrew of this passage. I want people to take note. Anytime I can now quote an Arabic word and say this is singular, that makes me an expert in the Arabic of that chapter of the Quran. Everyone, you got this?
I don't know about Jai, but I didn't hear anything that sounds like something in the passage. It's not overly clear, but listening to it, there's no word in the passage that sounded like what I heard.
I think what she did was she Arabized the word. So the word khamor has a cognate in Arabic hamar, which means donkey. So I think what she did was she Arabized the word. That's what I thought I heard. Okay. I thought she said it like as if it was Arabic, but she was trying to make it sound like Hebrew at the same time. But it was a weird kind of combination. So yeah, that was so the expert. I'm gonna have to get a good recording of this actually, because I'm pretty sure. Okay, this will be a funny short video of the Hebrew expert butchering Hebrew. The one passage that she's an expert on, she doesn't even say correctly. As
far as exactly what she said, that'd probably be good to go to her video because she was mic'd up for her live and so on. So you'll be able to get exactly what she said there. Matter of fact, let's take a couple super chats real quick because this is I need to cleanse my brain for a few seconds, or I'm just going to be zoning out and not paying attention to how she completes this. Oh boy, wild stuff. 20 degrees lol. There. Oh, already read that one.
Oh, we're way back.
Yeah. I play D&D twice a week. That makes you super cool. Club Pyru is probably Malik's D&D group.
Oh, that's funny.
Welcome to the Club Pyru meeting of D&D. I am your dungeon nerd. Anyway, the people I know playing Dungeons and Dragons would beat that dork up. Ruminate on that riddle. Malik's like, hey, can I join your D&D group? They're like, no, get out of here, you dork. Malik had too much imam spaghetti. No, that's funny. It's Mom Spaghetti from Lose Yourself. Mom Spaghetti.
Man, I feel like we've been catfished. Like when we do the thumbnails and we put him in there, we use this like old picture of him where he's like young and skinny, and then you see him in real life and he's got like his hair's graying out and he's like puffed, like big, like
he's like 350 pounds.
Yeah, he looks like a refrigerator.
Yeah.
Muscle.
Yeah.
A puffer fish.
A puffer fish, yeah.
We got
so
Ginger.
I feel like we have to redo all our thumbnails of them, and we've been.
We do. No, don't. Jai, don't worry, man. Don't worry. And if we can't get any good, we'll have pictures of him from Speaker's Corner for future thumbnails. Ginger with attitude is pronounced.
Oh yeah, we could do that.
They're going to be comparable.
Ginger with attitude is pronounced Gua, as in Gua. Learn UK English, Dr. Wood. I did not know that was a thing before. I think I can find some sort of reference of Muhammad in the Bible, but I don't think Muslims would like it. Matthew 7:15-20, and also possible reference in Revelation 15. Yes, there you have false prophets. Itachi with all the fluffy mics looked like invaded by the Tribbles. Tribbles from Star Trek. Whoever takes this trouser pocket ninja seriously needs to be head checked. Whoever takes this trouser pocket ninja seriously needs to be head checked. Itachi claimed in this debate that Cyrus was a polytheist as per Cyrus Cylinder, but in another debate she claimed dual carnane is Cyrus, not Alexander, I think you meant, as he was monotheist. These people lie all the time.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Dawa Muslims find the most vague, ambiguous, most general verses in the Bible and say, you see, this is about Muhammad. That's what they have to do, because anything specific can be easy. The more specific it is, the more easy it is to refute. The more open to interpretation is, the more you can insert your interpretation into it. Not like the Men of Al-Zut inserted things. Itachi and her two co-ninjas make a huge mistake. There was a time when it was difficult to see the face when Shin was missing, but we have moved on. One thing is...
like when they were on camera. Yeah, I think, Chris, didn't you point this... Wait, was it... Yeah, you pointed this out yesterday, Chris, right? That she wears like a see-through thing.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, it's not a real niqab.
I can see her mouth, like... So it was kind of distracting because, like, as I was like talking to her, I realized,
you hear this? Chris says he was distracted by her mouth.
Muslims, wait. Don't make this weird, David. Don't make this weird. Muslims, check this out. I could see her mouth moving through her mask through the entire time. If you were upset with the fact that she, then there you are. Like, and I remember like being like, hang on a second, I am lip reading her. And I was like, that's weird. That's really weird.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
I remember DOC was explaining to me one time, like,
see the contours of your mouth.
The real niqabis, like when you get those see-through ones, like, or like the thin kind of fabrics, they double layer it. That's what they do. They double layer it. She does. So you can tell she just like she's a niqabi for like what do you call it? Like they call it LARPing. A LARPer. She's a LARPer.
Yeah, she's a LARPer.
One thing is objectively true about Malik's haram. They are insufferable. Oh, Malik's harem, I think he meant. Malik's harem. They are insufferable and hard to listen to. It's like listening to cats that are in heat. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Guys, I found Muhammad in the Bible. He's one of three in Revelation 16:13. Yeah, false prophet there. Prophecy is also miraculous, by the way. Mo can't claim it. But the tribe in Yemen worships Ezra as most preserved one true scribe. Therefore, all Jews hail Ezra as the son of God. Ezra is the best of all scribes. This is all true.
You know what's really funny about that? I know it's a joke, but like, you know what's funny is that in the Yemenite Jewish tradition, there was a guy who would go around and Jewish. I can't remember the profession, but he would go around and like get charities and kind of go around to all the different Jewish communities in the world, and he would like write about it as well. And I can't remember his name, Yaakov something, Jacob something. But anyway, the point is that he mentioned that there was a tradition amongst Yemeni Jews that they thought Ezra like cursed their people, so none of them in Yemen at least they named their children Ezra. So they had an aversion to Ezra. They thought that he cursed their people, so they didn't want anything to do with him and in their tradition. And like so it's just kind of funny, like the one name that Muhammad picked out in that region, Jews were actually like, yeah, we don't want anything to do with that Ezra guy. And not that you might argue that Ozer is not actually Ezra, which maybe not, but if you take that to be Ezra, the Jews in the vicinity didn't believe that Ezra was some person that they wanted to name their kids after, for example. They didn't like him. They didn't think he liked them. So they wouldn't have exalted him as some son of Allah like the Quran says that they did.
Zachary says, "O Lord, my heart is heavy. I long endlessly for a wife and family. You said it is not good for man to be alone. Yet, Lord, your will be done. Amen." In the anime, Maki is pronounced like, well, I don't know how you mean to pronounce this. Maki? Maki? Mr. Wood, I don't know if you care. I don't. Love what y'all do. God bless. Yeah, learning the perfectly correct pronunciations for the anime characters so that I know that the Dawa chicks they correspond to, not relevant. They're not gonna last long. She says Muslim conquest of Babylon fulfills prophecy, but temples in Babylon were abandoned along with most of the city 300 years before Muhammad, and vast majority of the population of Mesopotamia was Christians and Jews. My laptop died for 10 seconds and Jai became Issa. That's what happens. Don't turn away. Babylon also fell to Greeks under Alexander. Are the Shia versus Sunni different like Catholic versus Protestant, or more like Baptist versus Lutheran? Yeah, it would definitely be more similar to Catholic versus Protestants than Baptist versus Lutheran. You corrupt the translations, then immediately uses a translator's editorial note to support her use of the text. Yeah, everything is everything is picking and choosing. Her entire argument is that the prophecy is not fulfilled because temples were in use after Cyrus, but this precludes Islam since temples were no longer in use. Imago Dei. Hey, BS artistry excited my long suffering. What? Can you tell me? Oh. Can you tell me how to wipe my butt? Thanks to D-Wood and AT, this song been stuck in my head for the whole day. Babylon equals coded language for Rome, evading censors. Itchy is not up to scratch. What is this new Dawa sending face-covered women? Maloink was closer to home than we realized. Got Big Mac and fries there. Didn't know I'm the next Einstein because I know 2 + 2. That would make you very smart. Have you seen Year One with Jack Black? That movie reminds me of Islam. Abraham explains circumcision to cavemen. Hilarious. No, I have not seen that. David, it's like Malik compiled a script of every offhand comment you made on how an unscrupulous atheist can exploit Muslims and is using it. Oh, yeah. Malik, this is Speaker's Scout number 3. Mojab cited. Over. All right, we book it now. Club Pyru. That is 100% correct. They should be quoting Psalm 129:3. That's the most obvious prophecy of Mo in the Bible. Sorry, Issa. Yeah, that's specifically a prophecy about the night of Al-Zut. Now we've got, hey, Issa. Issa showed up in the chat here. Thank you, D-Wood, Chris, Anthony, Jai, and Chet. This dude didn't even greet Issa. What the heck is wrong with him? Okay.
I don't know why.
Here we
It
go.
might have been sent earlier.
We've established that Itachi is the expert in Hebrew. She knows the book of Isaiah to an expert level, which is what you've said.
Do you want me to just talk to the cameras? You don't want to actually...
Itachi, is you
don't
humble
know about the
yourself.
prophecy.
If you humble yourself,
I humble myself
you'll look
and
a
you
lot
don't
better.
know it's a non-existent scholarship.
You already said that
Just
most
let
scholars
me
agree
finish.
with me that
Okay,
it's
so
not a
let me
prophecy
finish.
about Muhammad.
So let me finish. I said that from the
I
beginning.
think you are
That's not a
finished, really.
blunder.
I mean, you more say like.
Okay, from the beginning, I said Jews and Christians interpret
not a
it
problem that
specific
no
ways,
scholar
and I'm
agrees
going to
with
show him
me.
why their interpretation is wrong. So can we continue now?
Well, I mean,
Can we continue?
are you going to have
Can we
overwhelming
engage?
evidence for this prophecy?
Yes, I am. Can
You
we
are.
engage?
So, overwhelming evidence.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Go
Beautiful.
on.
So the
Continue.
first part we already completed. Cyrus and Darius is referring to Media and Persia, according to Daniel 6. Okay. So we continue on, and we see that Media and Persia don't actually destroy Babylon nor its idols or anything of the sort. They simply overtake it. Okay. Now.
That seems sketchy. That seems sketchy. Wait. So, what is destroying them? So, if I go into a city and like burn everything, but there's still technically a few things. I destroyed it or not?
I'm guessing the mic problem is because there's people have so many mics, and some people are like on the same wavelength and stuff. That happens.
Probably have
There's
the same model of mic.
well, I mean, you can set them to various frequencies and stuff like that. But I've had mics before where it said it tells you how to test the frequencies that are in use in the area to get one that no one else is using. So if that doesn't happen, sometimes there can be some. I mean, it could be interference from a totally different mic and so on.
And they worship the idol.
So, wait. If I destroy entire buildings, I raise the buildings, I kill all the cattle, there's still idols there. Is that destroyed or not?
That's fine, because there's two falls, bro. This is only the first fall.
Well, you need both, don't you?
So I'm getting to the second one now.
Yeah, but you need both. And you failed the
There
first
has
one.
to be two. The first one, it didn't complete the prophecy.
Yeah, but Itachi, if you're telling me there are two faults,
Yes.
and that's a prophecy,
Yes.
and I've already shown you the first one isn't correct according to what you've said.
So you don't think it's a fault? It's not a fault.
What I'm saying is, I'm saying you have a
Did
very
Cyrus take over
icky
Babylon?
way of looking at
Did
it.
Cyrus take over Babylon or
You say two different, so you overran it, but then like, oh, but it wasn't destroyed because there was.
idols are not destroyed. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. I'm not.
So
Babylon itself is
you have
taken
a
over. It says the fall of Babylon.
So what's the relevance of the idols?
Because the verse says the idols have to be shattered.
Oh, that is part of the prophecy.
Yes.
Okay. So goes back to my earlier critique then. So they probably did shatter idols, but they probably left some.
Because he worshipped
So
them.
no idols were shattered.
He worshipped the
Are
idols
you
and
saying
said,
that was shattered?
"Is of God."
Are you saying that was shattered?
We can blame JC for the audio. JC,
Yeah.
you need to get your mic fixed.
We'll see if this eases up.
Use hyperbolic language, telling you to have to interpret it that way?
It was fine for a while. Hang on. Let me. Someone remember 2348. I'm going to fast forward and see if it's better, and that way we know it's going to clear up here in a few seconds. So let me just go here.
Some random point because you wanted to bring that up.
Are you okay?
jumped.
Are you okay?
Is that
Psalm
what, did you not do
22
that?
was to show you what
So you
Christians
did
do when
do
it comes
that.
to not
You did. Right. You did do that.
Bro,
Okay.
trap. Okay, this is ridiculous at this point. You already said it. Let me finish.
Okay, this looks like it continues for a while. What do you guys want to do? Do I want to keep fast forwarding, or do we just want to say we got the argument? Is she coming to a point?
I think what I want you to kind of get is that at no point does she summarize this. This is just how it is now. So, yeah, it's kind of weird.
Okay, let me fast forward a little more, and then we'll see if the audio clears up.
I heard something about Psalm 22, and this is what Christians do with prophecy. This is not Christians doing something with prophecy. That's the Lord Jesus himself quoting it and applying it to himself. So if you have you have a problem,
Yeah,
I don't know where she was going with that, but I'm assuming she was just trying to make a point and say that this. I think what she might be getting at is like she thinks hers is more clear than Psalm 22 or some like her prophecy of Muhammad is more clear than Psalm 22. You see what Christians do, and at least we have clear prophecies, and you've been pointing out the entire time that her thing is the furthest thing from clear. When Psalm 22 is the exact opposite. It's incredibly clear when you see it. Yeah, like it only works if it's about Jesus. It only works if it's about Jesus, and it is
the
about
person
Jesus.
who is about quotes it. So
yeah, exactly.
I remember
Muhammad never quoted. Yeah, Muhammad never quoted Isaiah 21 about himself or anything. He never quoted anything about it and said, "This is fulfilled in me." You've heard this. Yeah, I'm sure Anthony has a lot to say about that. So
one thing I'll say just real quick on Psalm 22 that I don't think a lot of people even consider. There's a huge amount of stuff to talk about there, but one thing, think about this: David is composing this psalm, and it's to be used in the corporate worship of God at the temple, and of course, it would also be used in other worship contexts. But who's David going to compose a psalm about that the people of God are going to sing at the house of God as an act of worship? and then when you look at the psalm, I mean, first of all, I mean, he's just writing about, he's not writing about himself, obviously. He didn't suffer that horrendously. But he's writing about we don't read about any Israelite in the history of the Old Testament that suffered that way. And David is composing this, what's about some unknown Israelite who wasn't significant enough to be mentioned, right? Because other people will say it's just a historical figure that he's talking about. There are even Jews. There were Jewish interpretations that said it's about Esther, but it's a man. It's a male throughout that's already a problem. But my point is just to say, it's outlandish to think that David, the psalmist of Israel, is composing these psalms for the corporate worship of God, and it's going to be about some Israelite who doesn't make it into the historical records. I mean, it's pretty laughable. But if you look at the psalm, this person's suffering suddenly issues forth in the nations coming to the worship of God. So somehow this person's suffering results in the families of the earth coming to God to worship. So, but there is really a lot.
You could say it's almost testable, right? Like some prophecies, like, you know, like being a light to the nations, and, you know, Isaiah 42, 49, like these things are almost testable. Like you can see, okay, who did that? We can look historically to see who brought, you know, these Gentiles from paganism, from sinful lives, from like all the evil, from idolatry, from whatever, you know, background, into the worship of the true God, the God of Israel. Who did that? And it's always going to be the Lord Jesus. He's the one that you can point to and say, oh, that's the light to the nations. He's the one. He's the true fulfillment of that. And you could like look at that, and you could like statistically even, I'm sure, I don't know, IP probably has a study on it somewhere showing like the growth of Christianity or something. But, you know, it's like these are like that example in Psalm 22, how it ends. It's like it ends with the glory of God in the world, like all the worship across the world. It's not unclear. It's not Christians just making things up.
Real quickly, one of the mistakes that a lot of people make is thinking that the Psalms are like an anthology. They're just a bunch of songs, however important or inspired they might be, thrown together, and they're not actually related to the psalm before and after it. If you look at a hymnal at a church, you don't think, how do I understand this song? Oh, I'll look at the song before it and the song after it. And that's the way a lot of people approach the Psalter. But the Psalter is actually presented as a book, which has a beginning, a plot, and a conclusion, and so forth. And when you read it that way, it actually turns out rather remarkably to give you actually a story. So just think really quickly about three Psalms, 22, 23, 24. In Psalm 22, you have horrendous suffering followed by universal worship. But then in 23, the figure's speaking, and he says, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Certainly the figure in Psalm 22 did, right? And then he says, I'll fear no evil. And then he says, you have anointed my head with oil. Any Jew hearing this language would necessarily think of the Messiah. You have anointed my head with oil. And then he says he's going to dwell in the house of the Lord forever. When you get to Psalm 24, it talks about a figure ascending up into the heavens and into the house of God. And it says, lift up your heads, O you gates. Lift up your heads, you everlasting doors, so that the King of glory may come in. The anointed one, right? The King. And so all these Psalms read in order actually present the sufferings of the Messiah passing through the valley of the shadow of death. He's the one who's anointed. He's the King who then ascends up into the heavens. So, yeah, all I'm pointing out is just there's all sorts of stuff that goes into interpreting Psalm 22 to be about Jesus that cause what she's talking about to look absolutely, stupid.
It says camels.
It
says camels. What else could that be? Go ahead.
There's a strange thing with this analysis. It's like,
go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I think the thing that I think is strange is that she's like trying to analyze the Psalms. She's trying to analyze the corpus of the Tanakh, but she thinks it's corrupted. So I'm like, why are you analyzing this corrupted text? Like, what value do you get from this? And if you think it's corrupted, then how can you? She's acting like she's an expert of the text. I'm like, the thing is, if I'm going to look at Christianity.
She is, yeah.
She actually made
claimed
that
to be
claim.
an expert on this passage and on the Hebrew of this passage, although she doesn't know, she couldn't name a single letter of the Hebrew alphabet, but she claimed to be an expert on the Hebrew.
When someone is ego-driven, it's a very easy thing to bait them into bigging themselves up. Mm-hmm. Like, and I could tell she's very ego-driven, right? Mm-hmm. I'll give you some rope. Are you an expert? Are you telling me you're an expert? Because every bone in her body wants to say,
the best expert in the world.
I am the best.
I am history's greatest authority on Isaiah 21 and the Hebrew of it.
Alphabet.
Good.
Yeah. And I think that this is what it's so strange. Like I've studied Hebrew, but I am not very good at it. I've studied a lot of my life, and I'm still not good at it. I'm not languages. I'm not like Jai. I don't have the gift of languages. We all have our blessings and things that we're given. That's not my thing.
Yeah, you're the beanie
I do the
guy.
best I can. I'm the beanie guy. Yeah, Greek. I've studied Greek. I've studied Hebrew and Arabic, but I am bad at all of them. So I'm not like these people. I'm not an expert at any of these languages. I try really hard, but some is retained and some is not. But you do the best you can, But I think it's just bizarre that I want to tell you something funny. There's a video you need to see on Sheikh Uthman because it's horrendous.
I thought you were going to recommend that movie again.
I thought you were going to say
all
the movie.
No. This is Sheikh Uthman.
All those
Sheikh
Uthman videos are funny.
Sheikh Uthman has an interview with that guy from that show, the one where he did the 10 debates. He's atheist, I think. What is his name? He has like curly hair. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Huh? Sean Kelly. It's Sean Kelly. And so Sean Kelly's it's like this yes man. So Sheikh Uthman talks about how he was a gangster. I'm not even joking. He said he was a gangster he was a Christian, he was a Catholic, he was a Christian, and he says all of this. And I'm like, he doesn't know anything about Christianity, but he was a Christian, and he was in the church, and he was the mastermind of gangsters. I'm not joking. I sent you the video, David. You have
I was a priest. I was a priest in the local Baptist church, and I was the official priest of the local Baptist church, and I was simultaneously running the gang there, and so I've got all the street cred, right? So I was a Catholic priest of the Baptist church, and I'm guessing it's something like that.
And you know what else he said? He said that he studied all the religions. First he was a Christian, and then he said, well, I had the miraculous medal, like the Catholics have the miraculous medal. And he said, I did all of, I was doing all of that. But then I said, you know what? I can't do this gang stuff anymore. And it sounded like a bad, 80s or 90s B movie. I'm not even joking. It sounded like there was a plot of that. And because both Anthony and David, you both have had actually a real story. His story sounded like it came straight out of a movie or a video game, and it's just this deception. It's very similar to this. It's like, I have this expertise, I have this knowledge, I can talk about Christianity, and I'm like, but you don't even understand basics of this theology, and you're stepping in to talk about, jumping in the deep end of something you really don't know. And so what he said was he was with the Cardenales. He was talking about engaging the Cardenales, and he was a mastermind. Like, it's the Pyru type of thing. And then what happened was he said, I decided that Islam was true. My family was Muslim, but somehow I come from a very strict Pakistani house, and somehow I was able to go to the Catholic Church. And he then went and he put on a turban, and he put on a jubba, a thobe, and he went to the gangsters from before. They said, we're going to get you. We're going to take you out. He said, no, come to the masjid. I'll cook you some food. I'm not making this up. He said,
and then they all converted.
And then he said, all of them converted. Like, he said, 15
there
people converted. Yeah. And then he just kept telling stories about people converting. And I was just like, what nonsense is that? And then after this whole tirade of nonsense, he goes in and starts telling us about how Christianity's bad. And he's like, look at all these horrible verses in the Bible. Look at the 50 shekels. Look at this abuse. Look at Paul in Romans talking about shaving the head. Look how bad that is. And, in Islam, we have to defend ourselves. It's very sweet. It's very nice. So he gave all the nice justifications for any difficult passages of the Quran, and every single thing in the Bible, it's so bad. And then he said one line about ISIS where it's like, well, they're bad and I disavow them. But he just kept saying how horrible the Torah was, how horrible all of these texts were. And then he also mocked Jesus. I was like, dude, you're mocking the Messiah or mocking the prophet? Like, this is what you're doing from an Islamic framework. He's like, turn the other cheek. That's weak. Turning the other cheek is weak. And he's like, we don't believe in this weak nonsense. We believe in
faking a hate crime against yourself. That's masculine.
But it's just so funny. He was like, weak. He's like, weak. Like, it's such a weak belief. And I'm like, you're gonna attack Jesus to make this argument? I'm like, how disgusting are you, bro? Like, this is a really disgusting thing. And I'm like, this is such a beautiful thing about having empathy, having compassion, having mercy, like good qualities. And these are the Christian qualities. And he's like, I don't want those qualities. I want to be violent and mean and nasty. And I was like, wow, is this what you want? I'm like, okay, bro.
Hey, Issa, you be Sean Kelly and ask me about my background. I'll be Sheikh Uthman.
Okay. So why don't you tell me about your background? What was it like growing up before you became a Christian? Tell the story. Or becoming a Muslim.
Well, first I was with the Crips. Then I switched and I was with the Bloods. And then I joined the Aryan Brotherhood. And then I was with the Mexican Mafia for a while. And then I joined the Warriors until that guy started yelling, Warriors, come out to play. And then I switched to the Saracens. And then I was with the Newsies, and we were delivering papers. And one day I was delivering a paper to the mosque, and they gave me a Quran, and I converted. And then I went back to all my former gangs. And all the gangs, alhamdulillah, all the gangs of California and everywhere else, alhamdulillah, wallahi, they all converted to al-Islam. And that's why, that's how he is, man. No.
And I'm going to respond to Sean Kelly. Wow, that's so amazing. I can't believe, I just am amazed that you did that. That is so true. I totally hear everything. Yes, all of those stories you told were true. And, those nasty Christians, they just don't get it. I'm going to read the Quran and the Bible this year.
You know what we got to do? Tongue in cheek, but how they have these videos where it shows the behind the scenes as they're recording stuff, what's actually happening and stuff. But we need to redo all the different stuff that Uthman has done, but give the behind the scenes, right? Like setting everything up for the ketchup routine where he pretends that he got stabbed. Yeah, but somebody plays Uthman.
Yeah, we'll get Issa to play. We'll get Issa to play Sheikh Uthman.
Yeah, and then
would love to.
And then go out in front of the Southern Baptist Theological Seminary.
Yeah, hey, he's been saying for years that they're working on a documentary about his life. In fact, after he faked the hate crime against himself, and people started saying, why do police and the prosecutors and everyone say they've never heard of any of this? You're saying this guy's in prison and all this. How come no one has any detail? Don't worry, alhamdulillah. This is what he said. Alhamdulillah, they're making a documentary about my life and all of this will be shown. And this was years ago that he said this. Still haven't seen it. But we can make that documentary. The Sheikh Uthman story with Issa. And yeah, we could do that. It'll all be like setting up for the fake hate crime and all that stuff. And yeah, we could do that.
You know what's wild is that I actually looked up his stuff. He actually got CARE to publish something for him. I'm like, dude, you're like a nationally recognized organization. You should fact check these things. Mm-hmm. You're putting your own name on the line for this as an official organization. And I saw some other Muslim publication posting some you shouldn't just trust this stuff. You should fact check it because now your own credibility is on the line. And I would recommend people email CARE and email this Muslim publication. I'm like, you shouldn't be publishing fake news. You should make sure that this is verified, Because even if you look at their articles, they don't even give evidence. It just said, oh, yes, this is the situation. We have to be against Islamophobia. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but you need to tell the truth. You're a nationally recognized organization. You don't want to be telling lies and mistruths on your website, or it takes away your credibility from the work you're doing.
I don't think they're nearly as concerned about deception as you are, Issa. I'll just leave it there. Let's see if this audio cleared up, though, guys. Let's see.
Wait. Before we do, I just want to go back, way back to what Anthony was talking about with the Psalms in general. Some people, like Anthony was pointing out, there's some misconceptions that we have when we think about the Psalms sometimes. And if you go to, I just pulled up the passages so I quoted them correctly. 2 Samuel 23, David identifies himself there as the psalmist, which we already know because many psalms do identify him as the one writing the psalm. But it says that he is anointed by God, and that the Spirit of God spoke by him. His word was on my tongue, the God of Israel. So that, and you couple that with 1 Chronicles 25, where you have the sons of Asaph and that speak about them prophesying according to the order of the king. So here are psalmists and David previously speaking by God's Spirit, prophesying things to come. So it's not just that like a psalm is, although you can relate to a psalm, like maybe like, many times, like, there's like comfort or you're going through a difficulty or something like that, and you can relate to the psalms. But also there's I guess you could say it's layered or something, but there's actual prophecy there, and that is what the Bible identifies as like even when Jesus opened up the eyes of the apostles. It says he goes to the psalm, he opens up their eyes and shows them where the Christ was to suffer for 3 days and then rise from the dead, right? So in Luke 24, so there is prophecy in the Psalms are prophetic. The Psalms are prophetic, and it's not just like contrary to what Korah or Itachi. By the way, I don't know if you guys know, they made a channel called Itachi, and it literally only lasted one episode because the fallout happened. But anyway, so contrary to what I said it again. Contrary to what Itachi said, that no, this is not just Psalm 22 is not just something that like Christians just are making up or fabricating and like saying, oh, this is messianic or this is prophetic. When actually the Bible itself identifies the Psalms as prophetic. And as Chris and I pointed out earlier, that the Lord Jesus is the one who tells us that this is about him, right? So there weren't like chapter divisions or verse numbers or like headings. Like when she was reading Isaiah 21 earlier, she read the heading of it, right? She read the header. Yeah, they didn't have you don't have headers back then or chapter divisions or verse numbers. So how do you let people know like what you're talking about? Well, he quoted the very first verse of the psalm, and that's not to say that there's like he wasn't saying those words, but he's also drawing to your attention that these words are this is about me. This is being fulfilled now. This is happening now. Look at this and you see the fulfillment. So yeah, complete. Contrary to what she's saying and by the way, this doesn't come from the Muslims. I don't want to give them too much credit because they borrow this or steal this stuff in some cases, like Central Dawa. They steal this stuff from the rabbinic Jews and they use a lot of their arguments. So yeah, just wanted to throw that out there.
Since you brought up 2 Samuel 23, there's a great book written by a Jewish convert to Christ, Michael Rydelnik. It's called The Messianic Hope, and you can find the same observations made by others. Usually their initial introduction to this insight is from Rydelnik, though, but others corroborate it. But what's interesting is when you look at 2 Samuel 23, it says, the oracle of David, son of Jesse, the oracle of the man raised on high, the one anointed by the God of Jacob, the sweet psalmist of Israel. the word raised on high, it's in Hebrew. If you just look at the consonantal text, which is what the prophet would have written, not the later form that you get it in the Masoretic tradition, where they're adding vowel pointings, right? The more natural way of reading this is to see it as the word meaning concerning, the one raised up concerning the anointed one of the God of Jacob. In which case, what this passage is saying is that David was raised up for this very purpose, to write psalms about the anointed one. And that's how it actually reads in the Septuagint. So pre-Christian Jews, as they looked at this text, without the later Masoretic vowel pointings, took it in a messianic direction. And then as you read the rest of the passage in light of this, it all fits together. So, yeah, even in this purpose section where it's telling you what the Psalms are about, it's telling you they're about the Messiah. So, like Jai was saying, they're prophetic, not just inspirational songs or something like that.
Yeah, it's important to note because, you know, obviously she's never read the Psalms. I mean, she doesn't even know what she's talking about. But she's expert. Come on, no one's gonna believe that. Not even her own people are gonna believe she's an expert. But like, you know, but it's like, so for her to even try to compare the two, like Psalm 22 to being fulfilled in Jesus versus Isaiah 21 being fulfilled in Muhammad or something, like this is for her like to pretend that she's even able to even begin making a comparison there, like any meaningful comparison is just come on now.
Hey, I'm guessing she has a show, but if she has a call-in show, we should have a Hebrew scholar call in and start quizzing her on the Hebrew specifically of Isaiah 21, since she has declared herself an expert on the Hebrew of Isaiah 21. That'd be good to know. Let's check this out.
You say you don't know about it.
Umi.
Now you're strawmanning because I never said Isaiah 21 says that, okay?
You literally did. You said 28 and it's in 21.
Okay, guys, I fast-forwarded a while, but it looks like the audio's cleared up, so we'll go here. I think this is close to the end, because at the end, it wasn't her, it was Chris, there was Malik there and stuff like that, so we'll see. Let's see.
What?
No.
She said 28 and they said and it's in 21.
Hey, Chris, you need to talk to your buddy over at SoCo, man.
I need to, man. Yeah, he's been having some audio issues for a while. He needs to get it fixed. I'll just kind of explain what's going on here, because basically I'm pointing out that if this somehow gets to Muhammad in some magical way, it doesn't fulfill the criteria of Muhammad supposedly being found, prophesied as a prophet to come after Jesus, who is a Ummi, an unlettered, a Gentile, or a someone who's unfamiliar with the scriptures. Those are the different possible interpretations of the Arabic word Ummi. You won't find that being fulfilled in what she's talking about. And she admits that you won't find any mention of an unlettered or Gentile prophet in Isaiah 21. But yeah, she tries to just sort of get out of this, but she has to admit that, yeah, it doesn't fulfill that. Which, from my point of view, means this whole conversation is basically pointless, because that was, when someone says Muhammad in the Bible, that's what you think, right? You're thinking, you're demonstrating that your Quran is reliable because it gives correct facts about how Muhammad is a prophet and that he was prophesied in previous scriptures, and we can demonstrate that.
Yeah.
If you can't, I don't understand what the point of this is. It just seems like we're playing some really weird, crass game about let's try and see how many things we can put Muhammad in. But
yeah, so in short, everyone, if Muslims wanted to say that there are biblical prophecies about Muhammad, we wouldn't have a problem with it. We would include prophecies about false prophets who are coming, to include Muhammad as the most obvious example ever. But we understand that when Muslims say there are prophecies about Muhammad in the Bible, they're claiming that there are prophecies in the Bible that confirm Muhammad and his revelations as from God. They confirm Muhammad as a true prophet from God and his religion as the true religion. And so here it's kind of
let me give you an example of that real quick. I got an example for you.
I just want, like, here it's even different ground. It's not that the passage. It's not that we're saying, oh yeah, that is a passage, and it's about him being it's about him being a false prophet. But it's also not a passage showing that he's a true prophet. It's just she's arguing that Muhammad is prophesied, Muslims are prophesied as one group that's going to wreak havoc on the Babylonians or something somehow, which we don't even know how that's being fulfilled. But granting all of that, what's your freaking point? The Persians, Cyrus is not a prophet. Darius is not a prophet. Alexander the Great's not a prophet. Well, he is in the Quran, but Alexander the Great's not a prophet. It's like, what is your freaking point in all of this? You've proved nothing. We could grant every single thing you're saying, and it doesn't have anything to do with Muhammad being a true prophet. And that's what we're interpreting you as meaning when you say you want to talk about Muhammad in the Bible. If that's no longer what if you guys are relinquishing that and just saying, oh, hey, there are biblical prophecies about Muhammad being a group, in one group among others at some point. Okay, well, I actually don't have a problem with that. I don't think this is what this is talking about, but I have no problem granting it for argument's sake. Just doesn't get you what you need at all. What were you saying, Jai?
So, there's a movie that's often, recommended on this channel, which usually people say, hey, come, they just come to the stream randomly and they're like, hey, watch this movie.
That gorilla movie?
International Gorilla.
Yeah,
International Gorillas.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be like Salman Rushdie like watching International Gorillas and being like, look, I'm in the movie. I'm in the movie, so therefore the movie supports me. And like Pakistan supports me. But it's like, you're the villain in the movie. You're the one that's like pointed at there's evil character. You're not this like, you're not foretold or as like some kind of like, positive figure or character. So when the Jewish, like Maimonides, when he's talking about that, he's saying the madman, this insane person, by the way, he's also using what's the passage, Anthony? It's in Hosea where it says like the crazy false prophet or something like. He uses that same word there and he applies it to Muhammad, like pointing, like he's saying he's crazy, but it's because in Hosea it refers to a false, like the prophet as, like a false prophet as crazy. So he's using like biblical language to describe a false prophet as someone crazy. So he's saying, hey, there's a crazy guy who's going to be coming before the Messiah comes. And yeah, guess what? Isaiah spoke about that, about, the camel rider and then the donkey rider. So that's like, just because, so in his mind, it's just because, Muhammad is mentioned doesn't mean that he's the star of the show. It means he's actually the evil bad guy. Like Salman Rushdie, International Gorillas, like. All we need is like, Isaiah. Yeah, so
he's the camel rider who was himself ridden.
Yeah,
I appreciate that. That was very sweet. I wanted to say one thing too, is if you take the principle that the Bible is corrupted, this is where everything falls apart. If the Bible is corrupted, you can't make this analysis. You can't claim prophecy. It's like eating your cake and having it too. You can't do that. You either believe that it's confirmed or you don't. You have no litmus test. You can't just say, well, the Quran confirms, whatever the Quran confirms that is true. I'm like, that's barely anything. What exactly are you going to find? The Quran is it's very abstract. That's I think the best word we should use. The Quran is an abstract text because it's a poetic text. So if you're trying to do some analysis of confirmation of the Quran confirming the Bible, I don't know how you would do that, because the Quran is not specific at all. Is the closest specificity we can find at all is the Surah Yusuf, and it's still very vague. We don't know who the 12 tribes are. Most of the names are not there. We don't know who Benjamin is. None of the names are there, right? We don't know the locations. It's very, very, very vague and very abstract. And really what we see from the Quran, just the way, if you're reading it, like as an honest scholar, it's requiring you to read the Bible. Like you have to have deep familiarity with the Bible to understand what's going on in the Quran. So I just think it's so bizarre that they're like, I'm going to show you the prophet here, but guess what? I don't even believe it's real. And I'm like, that makes no sense.
Someone in the chat said Satan's mentioned in the Bible, so therefore we should all follow.
This is the proof. That's good. Let's see. Let's check the audio here.
Wait,
what are you saying?
Well, I was just going to say we should take a moment just to appreciate the really great place where we've stopped at in the video. Just that image.
Oh yeah. Hey, there's your thumbnail, Chris. There's your thumbnail.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
There's your thumbnail.
Or same prophetic utterance be found in the gospel.
Oh yeah, just one more thing to note.
Oh my goodness.
I noticed this throughout, but you guys will be able to pick it up as well, like as she's saying it. But whenever she mentions Muhammad, she's supposed to say, Allah's prayers be upon him, peace be upon him. She never ever does. And we pointed that out before, but every time she does it, now I'm thinking like, yeah, she's supposed to say it here, she's supposed to say it here, she's supposed to say it here. Never does. So yeah, not a very good Muslima.
Let's see.
7th century. We know what that is historically. So a single instance where a Ummi prophet is in Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John.
Matthew chapter 21.
An Ummi. Says in letters.
This is the Gentiles.
The Gentiles. Oh, so it's multiple people. Oh, so it's not a person. It's not about Muhammad.
It talks about the Gentile nation that's
so it's not about Muhammad. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's brilliant. So there is no actual prophecy about Muhammad in the gospel. If there was, she would have told me one.
Yeah, John chapter 1.
John chapter 1. Where in John chapter 1?
John chapter 1. Oh my goodness.
No way.
Is she going to John 1, 19 to 21? That would be embarrassing terrible after an already terrible. But I guess you can't get any worse, so might as well go.
Come to John the Baptist.
By the way, you guys see Malik's trying to have a dance. You see Malik's trying to have a dance off with Chris. He keeps like going back and forth. Watch his moves.
Let's see.
The prophets.
All right.
Do you agree they asked him about 3 individuals?
Yeah, but why makes you think the prophet is Muhammad though?
I got you. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So is there anybody else who comes afterwards that's a prophet? Okay.
Describe him as unlettered.
Does it say he's a prophet?
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So the prophet was Ummi. So unlettered, Gentile, or unknowledgeable about the scriptures.
Okay, so when we take the words words of the conglomerate of the gospel, what we find is that there's a Gentile prophet going to come and so the Gentile aspect is spoken about in Matthew 21.
Okay, so not John 1. Okay, right.
Matthew 21
so Gentiles are not a prophet. That's a group of people. Right.
John chapter 1 talks about a prophet who's supposed to come, the prophet.
By the way.
Who is it?
That's Jesus.
Oh, Jesus is the prophet and the Messiah, and they're expecting people there?
Why is that fiction?
Because they're expecting 3 people, not 2.
Oh my goodness! Everyone, I'll just give I'll go a quick refutation. This is so stupid, guys. So I mean, one, if you wanted to pick any chapter in the Bible not to go to as a Muslim, John chapter 1 would be right up there, guys. I mean, that's the one that starts off in the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God, talking about Jesus. Then it talks about all things being created through the Word, and then the Word becoming flesh and dwelling among us. You have John the Baptist saying that Jesus is the Lamb of God who takes away the sin of the world, and confirming that he's the Son of God. And then the chapter ends with one of Jesus' apostles saying that he is the Son of God, the King of Israel. And right there in the middle of all this, they go to this passage where the religious leaders ask John the Baptist if he's Elijah, if he's the Messiah, or if he's the prophet. He says no, and so they say, oh, they're expecting 3 separate individuals here. And she's saying, oh, do you believe Jesus is the prophet and the Messiah? You can't believe that because they were expecting 2 different people. Okay, yeah. Do you think the Gospel of John is affirming that the religious leaders had the correct expectations about the Messiah? Because you seriously need to keep reading. The book of John is that they've got all kinds of things wrong in their expectations. But here you go, Itachi. If you want to say that these Jewish leaders were completely correct in their expectations about the Messiah, they were completely correct, and they were completely correct in their expectations about the prophet, and that there were therefore 2 different individuals, the Messiah and the prophet. You want to say they're correct? Great. Who did they come to and ask? An Arab? Did they come to an Arab? Did they come to an Arab and say, are you the prophet? No, because they were expecting the prophet to be Jewish. So what are you going to say? What would you as a Muslim say? If it's about Muhammad, what would you say? They were wrong. They didn't know what they were talking about. Their expectations were all wrong, which is specifically what you're objecting to here. This is so insanely stupid. This is where she went. Let's just play this.
May not be 2.
Because he talks about the Messiah and the prophet separately.
It's the Messiah prophet. Oh dear. That makes.
This is what he said. He said a prophet,
Absolutely fine. The Messiah is a prophet.
The prophet.
Okay, you've switched it back to the. Okay, so. Well,
I said the.
well, you made it. So I said fine. Anyway, now remember. Show me Umi. Show me.
Hey, this audio is jacked up, man. I'm wondering.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say.
I actually want to check the original to make sure that it wasn't just corrupted in my rendering here, because.
Yeah, I'll check actually.
What's up?
Yeah, it's worth checking, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was in the original.
That just happens. Anyone who deals with audio, wireless audio, and stuff like that in settings, this happens periodically.
What time snip are you up?
This is 35:05 right now.
Okay, 35:05. I'm gonna mute.
It's right by the end. It's right by the end. Yeah, just check for us. I'll play a little more because it's almost the end. Let's see.
Gentle, unlettered, or show me. Thank you for that. That was really nice. I really appreciate that. Will you shake my hand, though? Huh? Will you shake my hand? No. We'll shake my hand.
Good though, bro.
Sorry?
I forgot you can't shake my hand. Sorry.
Yeah,
I had it.
What's up?
I had a bit of a brain fart moment here where I wanted to see if I could coax Malik to shake my hand, and he said no. And then just out of like politeness, I just turned to Itachi and say, "Will you shake my hand?" And then realized, oh yeah, she can't do that, can she?
Well, in real life, she wouldn't care even slightly, because how much of Islamic's rules, how much of Islam's rules does she actually care about? And how much does Malik care about? I mean, he's sitting there in a Scarface shirt, representing Pyru, but no, I can't shake your hand. Yeah, I bet if his hand was a hot dog, you'd shake it, wouldn't you, Malik? Or a sandwich or a piece of pizza. Anyway.
Or spaghetti on Libiano's belly, that sort of thing.
Yeah, spaghetti. if you had a handful of spaghetti there, you'd be all over it. What'd you find out, Jai?
Yeah, same problem on the original video.
Okay, all right. We just had audio problems, guys, but it doesn't look like she was going anywhere with the arguments anyway. So we'll just play the interaction here with Malik and the rest. Let's see.
Wait. Someone just said Malik wouldn't shake hands. That's exercise. I think that's pretty funny.
Oh.
Well, I was wondering when he was moving back and forth, and Jai said doing a dance off, and I thought, that's going beyond what we can feasibly say of a man.
Hey, maybe that's why he's swaying back and forth. Maybe he's trying to get a little exercise in. I don't know. Let's see.
It's like, this is as far as I'm going.
People were pointing out in the chat, maybe his knees are giving out, so he's like having to shimmy back and forth.
So that's actually a thing at Speaker's Corner, but usually you have to be there for a lot longer than he was, because he was only there for 3 hours or something. But if you've been there for 4, 5, 6 hours, then you start to, if you haven't sat down, or maybe she's got weak knees. I don't know.
Yeah, weak. It's weird because in a lot of his live streams, he sounds like he's walking around, so you'd think he'd be getting some exercise, but I don't even know, man. Let's see.
Some other time later when you could.
Yeah. Well, I'm not the best person to ask.
I know. I'm sure Logic is going to want to talk about it. IP's
IP would be a really good person to talk about it.
I'm more than happy to actually discuss the substance with him if he wants to discuss the substance. Cool. This was a substance.
Hey, Chris, you treated good there, right?
Hey, Anthony, I know you have to go. Go ahead and cut out, man. We're just checking out the rest with Malik here.
All righty. God bless all.
God bless you, Anthony. It was good to see you again, man.
God bless.
We started off with too much cargo, so we got rid of Benedict Arnold. All right.
Hey, did Itachi just say she would talk to IP about this? Is that what she just said?
Yeah. But basically, I brought IP up. I said, just so you know, there are people who are much better than me on this topic if you would like to debate them. And I
There's
brought up
no
IP.
way she would debate IP. There's no way.
No, IP would, as a person who has studied this, would slap her, metaphorically speaking, into oblivion.
Hey, Itachi. Itachi, just call in using a voice changer. That way no one will know it's you. And if you get humiliated, no harm, no foul.
Hello,
of course, she'll call in. She'll be like, okay, beautiful. And so as an expert in Hebrew on this passage, and be like, wait, are you Itachi? No, this is not Itachi. Oh, wait, it'd be one of those robot ones. No, this is not Itachi. I am a different ninja.
You said something really funny though, before they love to say this beautiful thing. It's like this weird, like it's, I don't know if you call it like Gen Z lingo, but it's so weird. They keep saying beautiful, and the thing is not beautiful that's being stated. It's kind of like it's a polemic, and then they're like beautiful, and they don't. It's such a weird response. You know what a better response would be? Would be like, so I hear what you're saying, and I disagree with you on this point. That's like an eloquent way of speaking.
That would be a really good question. You know, things like that, which have
question.
Substance. Yeah, but it's a nervous twitch.
Okay, perfect. Okay, perfect. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Beautiful.
It's not perfect. Hey, there's nothing perfect or beautiful about it. You've been challenged.
Hey, David, you know, I was telling you I was messing around with the mixer, and I found out some of the cool things it can do. I want to see if this works.
Okay, how do I sound right now? What does my voice sound like?
Yeah, you sound like a munchkin or something.
So I could, make some phone calls maybe, and
no.
Hey, but, it's better. It's better than whatever. It's better than whatever Cora was using.
Cora.
It's better.
So that, if we hear someone calling with that kind of voice, it might be me just messing around with people. But no, she might actually do that though. She might actually call in and pretend to be somebody else.
Yeah, whereas
with a male name.
Guess what? IP wouldn't have a problem with her just calling in. Probably. Let me see.
Yeah, but she would have a problem with it.
Yeah, none of us blasted. Taking the nose name in vain is a little bit, but all right, I can forgive that.
That's how we operate, bro.
That should be great, right?
That's how we operate, bro. When people aren't ripping our books and doing stuff like we Gucci, bro. But when people start ripping our books
Malik, when people start ripping our book because I doxed them and tried to get them killed and stuff like that. Oh yeah, that's where we draw the line. No one cares, Malik. Giant dork.
Yeah, so
no one believes you.
I was basically trying to see what I could bait him into doing by being polite to him. But when he said that, something in me was like, I can't really say that.
Oh, here we go.
I can't really say that because that just he got me triggered then. So I basically just went, well, actually, just play it. Yeah.
Here we go.
To tell me that.
Hey, bro. When people start ripping books up, brother, it's a whole different story.
Man. I've seen your lives, brother.
No?
I know what you said.
Have you been to my TikToks? You like Club Pyro?
Okay, my friend, put it this way. You are the biggest Christian donor that we have ever had.
Hey, brother, if the cult followers want to give y'all money...
Wait. You raised $270,000 for IP.
And what you gonna do with the money?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Buy a house?
What do you want him to do? What do you want him to do with it?
You know what I want him to do with it?
Because it was you that raised them the money.
You know what I want him to do with it? I want him to preach the gospel and learn Isaiah 21. So next time when she debates,
you gave him the money. But you gave him the money. You gave him the money.
Boom. Oh, now you got to run?
Biggest Christian fundraiser.
No, I know, bro. And y'all still not going to be in Islam.
I've raised nowhere near that money. I raised $2,000 for charity. You raised 270 grand for a Christian debater.
We got 1,200 people right now. This is the most clout you've ever seen.
Seriously, I've never seen someone contribute that much to Christian evangelism.
Never.
It is, man. It's good. That's good, man.
Timothy, come on.
That is crazy. It's all-time record. He has the all-time record for a Muslim raising funds for a Christian, like hands down.
Yeah.
This guy has all kinds of records. He's caused more Quran desecration than any other person in history. He's raised more money for Christians, apologists, than any other person, any non-Christian. It's definitely any Muslim. And my goodness, man, this is...
I can see why you thought that about him though, Chris, because like you're talking to him. Notice how everyone's sitting perfectly still. Like every other sentence, he's like turning around and like doing spins and like going back and forth. I'm telling you, he's like a crack. Like I'm sorry, but I mean, he's like the guy is like someone.
Well, you said it, Jai.
He's probably really nervous. Probably just really nervous. Being around a bunch of, because Muslims don't like him, Christians don't like him, no one likes him.
Nervous? I mean, why isn't Itachi? She should be the one that's nervous. She's the female. He's got like 5 security guards. I
mean, think about it. It's like Itachi. I mean, like who, we think Itachi's dumb and stuff like that, but like most people don't have like ill will towards her. We just think she's stupid and that she's going to be exposed and stuff like that. Whereas Malik, done horribly evil stuff over and over again and has ticked off, again, not just the Christians, but Muslims as well. And then he's standing in there and even though he brings a bunch of security guards because, he's a punk, He's still just super nervous being in that environment. So super scared. Definitely not gangsta. No gangsta.
Nah.
No gangsta would be nervous would be scared out of his mind at Speaker's Corner. But let's check this out here.
I'll ask IP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the mic. You got the mic?
Which one?
Oh boy, which one?
Yeah.
Oh, what the heck? If they had you mic'd up for their stuff, they should actually have pretty good audio with this, man.
Yeah.
Which one's your mic?
Sorry.
Which one? That one.
But they'll probably screw it up anyway.
Gonna do wrap up. Good job, bro.
Hey, Chris, is that? I can't tell. Is that? I gotta see the original video. Maybe. Sorry, I'll tell you. I'll ask you afterwards once I get a confirmation. But Malik's got like 4 to 5 security guards, so I'm trying to figure out who's who in the crowd. Because he's got like this one guy, like he always has someone. You know how he always has like the Warner behind him. Mm-hmm. You can't see the guy here, but he's got like this big guy, like who's like about like a foot taller than him. He's just like like hovering over Malik's back. He loves having like a guy on his back for some reason. I don't know what it is about him, but
it reminds me of someone. Anyway.
Right, real quick. I had a debate with Itachi. She came to the Speaker's Corner. She was brave enough to debate, which I have to admit, I think that's good. I think that's actually really good for Dawa guys. Thank you for having the balls to debate. I think that's honourable. Hello there. How you doing, man? Long time no see. Wendell Daniel.
Any chance of you in a picture with a young lady?
I don't think. You know what?
Wrap up.
Do you want a picture?
Nice one. Wrap up.
She was just like, no.
So what happened there?
Right. Yeah, so we had this debate. It was on 2 topics. It was on the Islamic dilemma. I obviously took the affirmative. I explained the case nicely and, consistently. Yeah, that's going on. And she struggled immensely. She didn't know the account in Exodus 4 of Moses putting his hand in the cloak and taking it out. She only knew one part of it. And I pushed her to give me the other part, and she didn't know it. So she was ignorant of it. She used that as defense for conscious edits when she herself didn't even know the scripture. So that was embarrassing.
Okay.
But ultimately, she didn't do well on the Islamic dilemma. She failed in multiple ways.
Yeah,
the crucifixion was a whole blunder in of itself. And hey, Sam, good to see you, man. And then we talked about Muhammad in the Bible. Now, this was really interesting. This isn't my topic, but I was talking about it anyway. Now, people like IP and God Logic could do a much better job than me. But what was interesting is she couldn't actually make the concise point. She just kept talking about Cyrus doing X, but the statues weren't destroyed, but keep going back and forth, and she just couldn't summarize it. I struggled to really understand what she was getting at. But then I cut her to the point, and I said, in Surah 7, Ayah 157, is it a Ummi prophet described in the Torah and the Injil that is written with them? She said yes. I said, is that mentioned in Isaiah 21, which was supposedly where this prophecy was? She said no. So ultimately, she can't prove that Muhammad as described is in scripture. But anyway, that was it. That was a really good debate. Thank you so much.
Remind the family where to find you.
Yeah, sure thing, man. Well, this is Soko Films. God bless all you watching, whether it's Soko Films or Soko Studio. Is it Soko Studio?
Soko Films. Main channel.
But Soko Films. Stick with Soko Films.
Hey, Chris, now look at my one.
Yeah.
You ready?
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen,
It's
got to press the button.
All right.
Yeah, that's basically it. I don't think it catches. There is some bit where Malik is like going back and forward with me and 2 Speaker's Corner regulars who are like they're atheists but they're friendly with Christians. And he then like says something, tries to say like, you know, Chris, your book isn't doing very well. And then I ask the audience, I know, right? Yeah. And I say, how many in the audience have bought my book? And like hands all go up and I start pointing at them all. And then I say, how many people have bought your mixtape, Malik? And yeah, not a single.
Wait, was that in that clip?
It might have been somewhere. It's somewhere. I have seen it.
I mean, was it at the end? Was it at the end like that? Because there was like a minute left on the video. I just thought it was.
It might have been. It might have been.
Well, we're gonna find out.
Check it, I guess.
You know where?
Yeah. Awesome.
So, Chris, today was described as a takeover.
Yeah.
Has there been a takeover?
Not really. Not that I've seen, ladies and gentlemen.
So, what's happened today?
Well, so we had some really big Dawa guys and a Dawa manager, which is Malik, this guy here, who came to Speaker's Corner because I wanted to debate.
Boy, got big today, man. Hey, Chris, Isaiah 21.
He raised 270 grand
Isaiah
for
21,
Christians.
man. The boy don't know. David,
he raised 270
boys?
grand for Christians, man.
David's not teaching
Should I
his
shake
boys
your hand,
Isaiah
man? Thank you so
21,
much,
man.
man. Thank you so much.
I'm not
Man, you raised so much money. I haven't.
I know, bro.
I've raised so little in comparison to what he's raised for
because
Christians.
they don't like you. The Christians don't like you, bro.
Man.
They don't want to give you
But
money.
they love you. But they love you.
Hey, give me money. Let me go buy some runs, man.
Don't worry about it.
Is this a takeover, man? I don't know, man.
I mean, we
I
take
don't know,
over. I mean,
I like your
one
shit
down,
though, but
one down,
I don't know.
one
It
down,
don't seem like a
one
takeover to me.
Scarface,
So they bought some dais here. I had the pleasure of debating one of them. It didn't go well for them. It wasn't a big takeover as they planned. They realized that actually when they do debate, they don't perform as well as they had hoped, and it's just been an embarrassment to them.
So do you think they'll be back next week?
He's cutting the music now, so.
I remember there was also one point where I think the guy was like an atheist or something like that, and he was trying to like get Chris to like help him out in a debate, and Chris is like, "Hey, I'm not staying away." He's like, "Oh, typical Christian siding with an atheist." So Malik gets like cornered in some like stupid discussion he was having, but with an atheist, and he wanted Chris to back him up.
Yeah, he did, yeah. And I was like, I'm not backing you up. Why? I mean, like he's arguing with Steve the atheist, who's actually very sympathetic to Christianity.
He's pretty cool,
but he's a cool dude. And yeah, I get on with him really well. I've actually had him on my channel a few times. So yeah, I'm not going to side with Malik over him.
Hey Chris, come on, man! Muslim and Christian united front, man. Let's join forces.
Especially with Malik.
Hey, let's join forces and dox this atheist. Yeah.
You can join Club Pyru. I'll give you a cool handkerchief around your neck.
Let's see. Let's take this. Chris, don't be offended that they didn't shake hands at the end. When I was deployed, they told us not to shake hands because they wiped themselves with their hand. Jai, can we confirm that?
With the left hand, yeah, they.
Malik is better at fitna. Fitting a lot of belly spaghetti in his mouth. Oh man, classic.
He needs to remix Eminem's, instead of palms are sweaty. He's like
belly spaghetti.
Libiano's
belly spaghetti.
Libiano's belly spaghetti. Malik is ready.
It would be good just taking some of the video clips of Malik sort of swaying back and forth. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his scar face.
Sure.
Yeah. Libiano's belly spaghetti. Oh boy. Itachi tried to put Chris under a jinjutsu with her Sharingan and burn him with
Sharingan. Genjutsu and Sharingan.
If you wanted to, if we didn't already know you were a nerd, you just let that cat out of the bag, man. Well, I don't know. The appropriate pronunciation of this this nerd term is with her Sharingan and burn him with Amaterasu. Great. Okay, so we know who the local expert on nerd stuff is. Issa is the Mahdi. He's an expert on that. Yes, he is. He's good. And beanies. Maybe 20 actual scholars could go say hi to him at the park. That'd be funny. Yeah. Hey, Chris, Soko should change the title to Chris destroys 20 top Muslim scholars on Muhammad and the Bible. It's just that. Issa talks beautifully about God, but doesn't accept him as God. Oh, Issa talks beautifully about Jesus, but doesn't accept him as God. Jesus is either liar, lunatic, or Lord. Turn to Jesus as your God and Savior, Issa. You Sufi. You guys are dressed like Guy Ritchie's characters. Not me. Chris, did you get a chance to tell Malik, it's okay, man. There are plenty of cousins in the sea.
There was one thing I wanted to say.
First cousins, man. First cousins.
What is it? Oh, it was the whole Korra thing. So what did you mean when you said, ask Korra, when someone said, are you gay? I wanted to bring that up. Yeah.
No, that'd been a good one. Why are the horseman and the donkey rider each represented as a singular persons, but then the singular camel rider represents a group? Because that's why. Then we have Chris. Your parting words to Malik should have been a recommendation on where he could get spaghetti in London, where he could get good spaghetti in London. Yeah, it's at a place called Libiano's Belly Spaghetti. Well, I already thought this, but seeing it is totally different. Malik is literally the least intimidating person I've ever seen. Yeah, looks like he's about to fall over and break into pieces like Humpty Dumpty. All right, guys. Anything else before we close out? I'm gonna redirect over to. I've got this set to redirect to IP's live stream right now. IP is live. Anything else before we close out?
I have something. I just say
shocker.
The statement that I would say is that
it's just like the movie about gorillas. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You're funny. I think having support and empathy and compassion for Itachi is important. She's in this like really intense Salafi space, which is really not great for women. She probably faces a lot of abuse, like verbal abuse, and probably all kinds. And it just, I feel really bad for her. I think it's really difficult. It's not a really easy space to be in. It's a really toxic space, and I think she's just trying to kind of have a place in this space, but I don't know. I don't think it's a very healthy place, and I even think it's very difficult for women, even who are involved. Like if you get married and stuff, like just the way that they treat women is it's deeply problematic, and I feel all of that. It's just I feel deep compassion and empathy for her. So it's just I don't know. I understand about the arguments and stuff, but I don't know. I think that she's trying to do this to create kind of have a place for herself within this very toxic environment. So
one thing I will say is, when I was talking to her, something I did appreciate was she is actually at least quite easy, at least for me anyway, to speak to. She actually does let you speak, you know. I mean, she obviously like jumps in and interrupts and all the stuff, but I didn't feel like at any point there was, I don't know, like some genuine hatred or anything like that. Because sometimes you get that from some people. Like this guy literally wants me dead and he hates me right now. But I didn't get anything like that from her. And she was amicable at the end, you know. So I think there's something to be said for that at least. And I do, obviously, as a Christian, hope for her to be saved. And starting with you, Issa, though, you have to do it first. That's how it works. So
I appreciate you.
Yeah,
I
Issa.
think that points. I think that points to just be like being for show for her. Like, you know, she wants to like show for the camera. She wants to get her clips in and things like that. So it's like maybe she's not really like how she's portrayed on like because she's like afterwards she was like, you know, nice or whatever. But even during the conversation, she's not like as aggressive as, you know, Cora, for example, right? Cora interrupts like every 5 seconds. So it wasn't like that. But yeah, maybe this is just like part of the act. Like her LARP is Malik tells her to be like extra, you know, at some points because you gotta get the clips and the clips bring the views and the views whatever, you know, gets all those sponsorships with all the he's talking about Cora gets $20,000 a month in sponsorships that he supposedly got for her. So that's the goal with all of this for them, is to secure some sort of like Dawa career or whatever. They don't care about Islam or whether it's true or not, and that's just, I found that to be the truth, the case with a lot of Dawa guys. They don't actually care whether Islam is true or not. They just want to attack Christianity because they're just antichrist. And so, yeah, anyway, final thoughts. Islam is false and Jesus Lord.
Amen.
It's pretty bad, pretty bad out there. But good times. We are witnessing in real time the destruction of Dawa and the annihilation of all Issa's hopes about Islam ruling the world. All right, so Chris, nothing convinced you that Islam is true there?
No, it was just like an exercise in futility. Futility. That's the one, yeah. I just didn't see any value in that. I find it kind of sad that that's where she went with. I don't think any Muslim listening to that knew what she was doing and where she was going. Because if I, as someone who holds that as my scripture, isn't aware of that and doesn't see it in that way, I don't see how any Muslim is going to be, oh, Isaiah 21, yes, that well-known beloved text, I know. I just don't see it happening. So,
yep. All right, guys. Well, I put the link over in the chat, and I've set this to redirect over to IP's stream. Again, IP is live over there. We'll catch y'all later, and everyone go raid that live stream with cool fans instead of whatever nerds are over there watching that one and not this one. All right, get him some good viewers over there instead of the rabble that's watching him right now. All right, catch y'all later.